All right, everybody, welcome back to Mythlander's Goblin Stone. This is session 18, and we're in spooky season, everybody. Happy Halloween. Ow! So last week we had, we got to step over and see what happened. More of what's happened with the heroes of Arabelle, those powerful, storied heroes of the city that carved a quick path toward and into the stone. And this week, we are back with the Defenders of the Square. They have recently cleared out, or they have recently dispatched several goblins, a hobgoblin and a bugbear as well. Two bosses, a goblin boss, and the bugbear itself was a name that the party had heard, Life Choker. A lieutenant or captain among the bugbears, if that's maybe a faction of the army that's invaded the city. It was a pretty intense fight. You all started off in the basement, fighting the hobgoblin, fighting a goblin boss, and a few other goblins. Fought your way up, taking out a hobgoblin and another good handful of goblins. But three escaped, two through the blacksmithy to the southeast, and one down a set of stairs past Millie. All are, assumed to be still, are still somewhere in the area. The one that disengaged, sort of slipped away from Millie, disengaged, and then dashed away to the east. The ones that slipped out through the smithy slipped away to the north, and might have gotten a little bit further away. Hanging back in the other manor, sort of coming up slowly, securing the area, are some of the guards. Evrim is still over in the manor, sort of watching out over the street and keeping an eye on the city wall, South Watch wall. Of course, the top of it, you all spotted a few goblins, some bows and arrows, and one robed goblin with a bent and gnarled staff. And that is, that's where we left off. There was, toward the end of the last session, with these characters, there was a little bit of discussion on what to do next. But before we get into any of that, what did we leave out? Anything else? What else important? What else do you recall? Funny character moments, intense situations, successes in combat. So Clifford, what stands out? Anything else stand out for you the last session?
Clifford's hurt. He's got owies. So that is one thing that I remember. A lot of devious little buggers, the way the goblins make us dance across the fire. And we got to look out because they're very clever. And I also thought it was really clever. Locag grabbed the carpet and threw it on the fire. That was a moment.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, that was clutch. How about you, Pon? Anything else stand out for you, or anything left out?
Well, Helena did not start a fire, despite many temptations to do so. Though I do think that train of thought eventually evolved into something hopefully that might be able to help. If I recall, we were talking about maybe kind of smoking them out, so to speak, or sort of directing them. But I can't recall exactly if that's what we were going to do. I just know Helena was very transfixed on that.
There was fire and destruction involved. Heck yeah. What about you, DL? What else for X last session?
I remember Locag handing me my first death saving throw of the campaign.
Remind us.
The fire. He had this brilliant idea to put a carpet onto the fire to put out the fire, which was good. It was good. Unfortunately, the fire sort of kicked out from under the carpet onto Locag and I. And X had exactly 3 hit points, and the little fire burst did a d4 of damage, and he rolled exactly a 3. So I took a nap. But my party, they were awesome. They zoomed right over and got me back on my feet. So satisfactory conclusion to this fight. Looks like the goblins are mostly gone. We'll hunt the rest of them down and claim a victory here soon.
Nice. Excellent. What about you, Big Bri? What do you recall?
Yes, this is not what Lokag remembers. He remembers Sirius face taking nap in middle of fight. This was this is not the way to win glory in battle. This is just a little fire. It's no big deal.
Awesome. All right. So, as we pick back up, slot time resumes its normal flow. Still using initiative order as the goblins slip out. And Clifford, at the top of the order, you see the two that were... Let's bring us all over to the map. And make sure that we can all see what's going on. So yeah, you saw one after the other. The goblins slip out through the smithy doors there. The wall that you're, the sort of corner that you're standing in, there's arrow slits in the walls. So you can see pretty well them dash out, cut around toward the north.
All right. So yeah, I mean, if we're just doing what we're planning, he'll watch that happen, and then he'll try to return to the group and let them know that they're making a run for it, and he'll check in with Lokag and everybody and ask what they want to do, and he won't tell anyone how wounded he is. So yeah, ultimately he's gonna kind of watch for a round, and then he'll join the group.
Okay. So you hang here and watching the entrance.
I'll ready for one round just in case.
Okay.
I'll join.
All right. So, listening, readying yourself, sort of maybe reloading your pistol. You can go ahead and make a perception check with your bonus action as you ready an attack.
Cool. I will do that. Perception.
You can hear their poorly fitted boots sort of clomping and clattering along the stones outside.
Running away?
Definitely, yeah, they're definitely dashing away.
All right, I'll join the group and be part of the dialogue and just let them know they're running scared. I think you terrified them, Lokag. And he is, in terms of Clifford, I mean, I think he'd like to try to find that traitor and go after them. But he's also pretty fucked up. So, unless Millie has healing, but
you can shout to her.
I'll catch up. He'll try to catch up to Millie, and eventually.
Okay, well, you can spend your action to dash and sort of get into the other room.
Yeah. Sure, yeah, I'll head up that way.
Okay.
Try to catch up. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, we've got one running, she says. Her voice bright but tense. I could chase it or see about patching you up. What does Lokag do?
Coming down off of his rage, he's kind of, the adrenaline stops pumping. He starts to realize how achy his body is. So yeah, he's probably gonna ask around for a health potion, or join Clifford up there and ask, Golden Girl, do you have any heals? I am very sore, like after a big workout.
Here, triage in here, quick! And Clifford moves into that little room. Seems like a safe place. Us to ourselves. Millie can join us. Maybe we can get a little 2 rounds of triage. If he's got any healing, I don't know what he's got left. I got nothing. I'm out of spells. Got bullets.
I have a bit of fire and a potion. Referring to the healing light of Bridget's flame.
Oh yeah, a little healing light would be real nice. Right about now.
Alright, so what else for...
Maybe a potion for Lokag.
Alright, so what else for Lokag as you move into position? Any other actions ready or anything like that?
No, I think he's pretty laid back. He thinks all the goblins have run off, gone. He was pretty confident in Cliff's explanation that he scared them off. That made sense to him.
Yeah, it would. They're tiny.
I'm very scared. Exactly, and I am so big.
It's very simple math for Lokag.
I hate the sound of my boomstick.
Alright, so Lokag hanging there. Again, I'm sorry, if you said any sort of action ready or anything like that?
No, nothing, no actions ready. After talking to Millie, his goal would be to look around the house for anything useful. So.
Okay. Alright, what about X?
One of these guys had run off, down a sewer. That was on the first level, right?
And that was in the basement, yeah. One of them went off through a secret passageway that it smelled like sewage to Millie. Or it smelled like the sewers, anyway. There are many smells within the sewer that are not just sewage.
I definitely want to go that way, actually.
I'll ask the team if they think it would be worth trying to track that guy down.
I think so. After we heal up, I'm down. We gotta
He's
find
run away. We may be able to take a short break here and pursue down the tunnel.
Yeah,
Well, then
exactly.
for sure he will get away, right?
Maybe
So I think X's concern would be, yes, if we rest here, then for sure
I don't
he
think
is
we need to
gone.
rest. We're not talking rest. We're just talking just take a minute, get a little heal in, just give it 30 seconds, and then let's go after it.
No nesting?
How messed up is
I
it?
was.
Brian, you were saying?
Oh, I was definitely thinking nap, but I could always sleep.
I think if we can both get a heal and a potion, we each get a heal up, and it might be enough for us to continue, at least to track the guy down. It's just possible he's waiting for us, ready to strike when we, catch up to him. So be ready for that. Depends on what Millie can do for us.
Millie says, well, you can't really see her.
I'm kind of hollering to her to join us in this room to kind of.
Right. Okay. What she says is, 2 more goblins passing to the east. Must be the ones that ran away from you, you two. She moves in. She hands a healing potion to Lokag. Let's see here. Oh, let me check something really quick.
So X just has 1 first level spell remaining for the day.
As
If
does
we get
Millie.
if we get into another combat, I would use that for another bless.
Yeah.
Or a healing word if somebody were to get ambushed and fall down. So
Yeah.
I'm not in a position where I have spells for healing.
Yeah, and Millie does not actually have any healing spells prepared at the moment.
Oh, no lay on hands or anything.
Let me check and see if she's got any left. It's all been used.
She used a bunch of it on herself in the basement and then cured the poison on Lokag.
Yeah. So all she can offer is a potion, and she just holds it up. She kind of looks between you and shrugs and just
Lokag is probably down more. I don't know what you're down to, Lokag.
Oh, that was. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, weird. I don't know why that's backwards. Okay.
Well, if that's the case, maybe we don't have the resources to go exploring over there. Maybe that's a bad idea.
I mean, we can play it safe and not get into a fight and just track and see where this goes without just avoiding conflict.
Well, we could do a short rest and use our hit dice to get hit points back that way.
With the guy we
that
left
would-
on. Yeah, and then the guy... Yeah, but then we'll just track him.
Yeah,
know.
exactly. We'll just see where he went.
If you think we're safe here, we could go into this... We can all be in this one room in the corner and lock ourselves in.
I bet Redneck Girl could track him in the sewers, no problem.
Yeah.
I think we go back over to the other house.
And we rest there.
Still have speak with animals currently active.
Ooh.
Bubby here. Bubby could help us.
Yeah,
if
Bobby.
Bubby's willing, anyway.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Put that
Bobby,
thing close to the
help.
camera. Let
Let everybody see that.
Let the rat do this.
Everyone, Bubby.
Yeah.
Bubby, everyone.
All right.
Little fangs. I don't know if you can see. There we go. Oh, yeah.
Oh, so perfect. Bubby, sort of works his whiskers back and forth. You can hear a small cheeping sound. He seems nervous, but effectively, well, if there's the promise of more food, I could go. I'm still fast.
You're very fast. I'm very proud of you. And of course there'll be food forever, really. And this is just what we do for each other at this point.
Forever. It seems to not understand the word. It seems puzzled. It makes a few more sounds, which roughly translate into more than one food.
Food every time. Food again and again and again.
Always
again.
food. Always food.
Whiskers sort of bounce up and down as it seems to process this, then moves sort of, excitedly down towards your hand as if you're going to put it down somewhere.
Be safe, my most cherished one.
So where, who, and what? And I got the bit about the food. But what am I doing?
We are looking for goblins, wasn't it? We're always looking for goblins.
I thought he was going to see if the man ran into the sewers.
Sewers, man in sewers.
Humans are pretty easy to smell in the sewers. They smell very different. They stand out.
Saying we smell?
Hmm?
Wow, I guess you are saying we smell.
You're not so bad.
Thanks.
The big one's not so bad. The others, flowers and bright lights.
Ew.
All right, so Billy hands the potion over to Clifford.
Yeah.
While Helene's talking, and hands it over, and
Whoever drinks it.
okay, she says, so, moving back to the other manor then, or she seems to sort of be waiting whether she's going to maybe charge off after a goblin or step in and shut the door.
I'd say step in. Let's take a minute.
Okay.
There's no shortage of goblins.
She slips sort of around the corner, shutting the door behind her. And Helene, as you talk to Bubby seems quite interested, particularly after another bit, another peremptory bit of cheese or morsel of meat. He seems very much more excited. So it sounds like everyone gathers back together and moves back toward the stairs, back toward the basement. Is that what I'm hearing?
Sure. Yeah, it works. Let's reconnoiter. Maybe. Are we going to go back and rest in the other house? And how do we get there?
Back through the hole in the wall, of course.
All right. A little guerrilla warfare here. A little hit and run. The old in and out.
You bring your tokens down to the next area, if that is...
Sure.
Can we search on the way through?
Mm-hmm.
Just to make
Oh
sure.
yeah, do we loot? Do we loot Shatterbones and?
Yeah,
everything else?
absolutely.
There was also that Garrett, the Garrett. I don't know. I think someone said they wanted it. Make sure you have it in your inventory.
I had mentioned taking it, but someone else can take it. It makes more sense for someone else.
I mean, I could use it. I guess. I'm not sure what it does.
Yeah, I think, Clifford, you mentioned it. I think you were thinking about using it as part of a disguise, potentially.
Well, yeah, that was something later. Yeah, that was more. We're past that moment, but it could come up again. But yeah, if you have any special stats on it for the Garrett, I don't know what it does, but I wouldn't mind using it. It'd kind of be cool if he comes up to people in the dark and, comes at them like that. Be kind of in character. No one else wants it.
It's essentially like a grapple check, and if you succeed, then they're suffocating, almost immediately. Of course, they get to grapple every turn to try to get out of it.
Yeah, that's more of a low-cag thing than for grappling because he's not that strong, but he can still try it.
You can use dexterity for an athletics check.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I allow that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's kind of a finesse-y kind of thing.
I don't know if you've ever watched, if you have any friends that do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but
Yeah.
good example of what I mean. Sure, strength definitely helps, but you can do a lot with speed and accuracy.
Yeah, especially with a weapon like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Very cool. Okay, yeah. So it'd be he'd be decent at it. Yeah.
Okay. You should just be able to drag and drop one from the compendium. If not, I'll give you stats here in a minute.
All right. Fine. Anyway.
So everybody make investigation checks as you move to peruse the place, the fallen goblins and such like that.
Bad investigating.
Guidance for you, guidance for you.
Don't bother guiding me. You're just gonna send me off a cliff.
No.
Oh man, we're
Well,
really.
you got a solid 10 on that investigation with guidance.
Wow. X is your only hope.
Oh my goodness.
Have to reload roll 20.
Right?
Was that one roll for? How
That was for Millie.
Oh, really?
Oh man.
Not great investigators. We have no intelligence here.
There's an adrenaline tax,
Come on, a 10?
A 10?
Maybe?
All right.
At best?
D4.
Wow.
D4 for guidance. And
true.
12. Okay. So you turn up on their persons about 35 silver on the goblins, and on the Shadowbone and the hobgoblin, you find another 35 gold.
Oh. That ain't bad.
It's not bad. Both the hobgoblin and the Shadowbone have heavy crossbows, almost a quiver full of bolts. One has a heavy spiked mace. The other has a longsword. They both have chainmail, shields, and daggers.
I'll take a heavy crossbow.
Okay.
I'll drop my light one.
We can.
I'm going to suggest that we take all this metal back to town for the smith.
I think that's a good idea, says Millie.
Sure.
So whatever you all pick over what you need, and we'll see if the guards will carry the rest of it back to square.
Perfect.
The goblins themselves, the only thing that's really valuable out of what they have is the scimitars. Their shields are pretty beat up. They'd be useful to arm somebody, but they're not really going to be valuable to sell. Neither is their armor. Same case with
They'll
that.
just go in the community armory.
Okay. So I've got a list of all the gear and such. I don't necessarily have to deal with that right now. Aside, except to say that it's 150 pounds worth of gear, including the armor and the shields and stuff like that.
You can pawn that off on the soldiers and give it to them.
Shouldn't be too hard to convince them.
Oh.
Might
I think the
be.
gold is light, though. I think I might want to carry some of the gold.
Sure. Yeah, we can keep the gold.
I thought we might, says Millie. Well, everything falls apart and more gold passes through my hands in 2 days than in the past 2 years, says Millie. Sheep heads off. When you're still upstairs, she moves off to the sort of southeast, down the corridor and up a set of stairs into there's a small tower as part of the house. She finds some tanned skins. They're with Goblin writing on them. She comes and hands them over to Clifford.
I'll give him a look.
Okay. So reading over it, it's bullet points, it's commands. Takes you a few moments. It's a strange dialect. They use some of the words differently. It's almost a different language. It's just the sounds and some of the words are familiar, but it's put together altogether differently. And you think it's some sort of shorthand, military shorthand. You think
Like
you're
Goblin thieves' can't kind of.
no, like Goblin military cipher, kind
Okay.
of. But it's not really a cipher so much as it's just really, really simple.
Okay.
Looks like you're looking at orders. And it seems that the Hobgoblin's orders were to hold this position, have visual contact with the goblins on the walls, and to keep this place secure, to keep a watch out over it, while the goblin, it just says, while the other contingent does their work. So it's probably referring to. I'm getting some strange noise through Discord.
You too. I hear a little robot.
Okay. But yeah, I think it's referring to Life Choker, something he was doing here. He looks pretty comfortable in the basement, as if he had been here for a day or so.
Like some kind of ritual?
You're not sure. It just refers to some sort of work that he was doing. It says, secure and strengthen this position for the second wave.
All right.
Let's see here.
So I'll let everyone know. I'll let everyone else know, like, what it says, and we really got to do the opposite. If they want to hold this place, then we got to make sure they can hold it. Which means we might want to get ready for another wave of them coming back in here.
I say we set traps and go.
You got traps?
That room in the other house had been trapped with a whole bunch of stuff.
Aidman, buddy, your mic is going crazy.
Yeah, Brian, you might want to.
I'm gonna have to mute you.
Yeah,
Okay.
Brian's got to log out and in. Discord's turning him into a robot.
Yeah. A robot with a scratchy voice.
Yeah.
A robot that drank a lot of bourbon. Smoked a lot of cigars.
I'm a robot that drinks bourbon. Bender.
Nope.
No, he's still. It's like the throat mics that people get when they smoke too much.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Hope we get that figured out soon. But yeah, it references a figure named Root Eater.
Root Eater.
And as part of the Hobgoblin contingent. So you're expecting that Root Eater is one of these champions or captains among the Hobgoblins.
He's the one he wants. He's the one who wrote the note.
Well, that's just the orders is to hold it for him. He's probably receiving orders to come here soon.
Right.
And it looks like they expect the second wave to happen tomorrow.
Well, if we can trap this place and take them out when they come, but man, I need some rest. I'm not feeling too good right now.
It's fair. All right, so let's see here. As you all make your way downstairs, you search over the other goblins, grabbing their scimitars, the rest of their gear, and just sort of strapping it all together using some of the rope that you have, just making bundles, spreading it amongst yourselves. Yeah, still a very garbled robot, Aidman. Brian. I'm not sure what that could be. If you have wireless headphones or mic, it could be that. It could be getting low on batteries.
He
Is
figured it
Video
out.
Ninja muted?
Good question. It is on my end. I will double check. Everybody's muted on Video Ninja.
I'm going to take a moment.
All right.
Right back.
Okay.
Let's just push forward and maybe he can get that fixed.
Oh yeah, we will absolutely. So as you all come into the basement, grabbing the rest of the gear from the other goblins, as you go over one thumb, you find another 10 gold on one thumb. A flask of thick orange sludge. It's a rough crystal vial. It's about the size of a halfling's fist. It also has an amulet. It's a thick, like almost chunk of iron. A shape has been roughly chiseled into it. The head and shoulders of a figure. There's sort of spikes on the shoulders and on the head. It could be clothing, it could be armor. It's hard to say. There is one very large eye scrawled, and on the other side there's an X scrawled, like chiseled. And it's not like it. There was no other eye on the left side of the amulet. It was only ever just an X. Turning it over in Millie's hands, some of you are reminded, and she says, Bugbear said something about one eye, didn't they?
Grumsh.
Perhaps. Grumsh. Oh, yeah.
They love Grumsh. Can't stop talking about Grumsh.
kind of skinny to be Grumsh. And why would a goblin be wearing a amulet for Grumsh?
I don't know. Doesn't make any sense.
Well,
maybe he's a pirate.
I don't like the feel of this thing. Feels like it's, I don't know, soaked in bad dreams and I don't know. It almost feels like a wound. I'm developed, some new abilities like the rest of us. I might be able to take a closer look at this if once we're somewhere safe.
So DM, kind of above the table, X has these 9 arrows that he's got to kill special goblins with. Who, from what we understand, is the person visiting this house at the level of one of those goblins that I need to eradicate?
You expect so.
Not?
You expect so. You can make an insight check or a religion check as well.
$19 on insight.
Nice, 19. Yes, and Life Choker may have been at that same order. And since you didn't feel any backlash or sense of displeasure from your new goddess, you think you may not have to kill them with these arrows, just that they're particularly good at killing these people.
So the guy we killed with the garrote here was actually one of the boss monsters?
One of the captains, yeah.
So we've done one of 9. Is that true?
You think
I think
so?
so.
You have to commune, you think, or pray on it, try and contact contact her, and
Okay.
get confirmation.
No, awesome. Great.
And Helena gets credit for killing that boss. Helena finished him off.
That's true. Despite Clifford's plans.
No, allow him to die with on. Oh, well, I tried. His heart wasn't it.
Say again? Sorry.
Nothing. His heart wasn't really in it.
Yeah. He could have tried to stop her, shield him with his body, but no.
Yeah. He was kind of a jerk.
So as you all come into the basement and sort of spread out, scouring over the area, you don't see any project or really anything that could indicate what work Life Choker was doing here. Most of all the barrels are sealed. You do find a hatch in this area. Oops. Didn't work. It leads upstairs.
Oh.
But all the barrels are sealed. You don't see. You can see they've been freshly branded with a very rough brand.
Is it hard to pop them open?
I mean, it takes a moment. Some of them are sealed with wax. They all seem to be foodstuffs. All the ones on the left seem to be different salted meats and sausages. To the south, pickled vegetables and eggs. And over on the far side of the chamber, there's barrels of flour. And there's 2 crates. If you can smell them. There's one is full of. There are different types of. There's like they're root vegetables. There's like rutabagas and potatoes filling up the different crates over in that area. In the middle, they are empty barrels that are yet to be used or have been emptied out, but they've been cleaned. In the northern chamber here, aside from, you've scraped the gold off the table, all of this, it seems to be stuff that was left. It's nothing that the goblins left. There's like some papers on the table, oil lamps and such. So the place has not been ransacked, but there's new brands, a goblin rune that just marks the food is safe. Since they're not pried open, you're assuming that someone, probably of the ones you just killed, had some sort of magic that could purify or detect poison or disease or something on food. But yeah, mysteriously, there's not any other... there's double doors to the south. Millie finds them locked. And the south in this chamber here.
Oh, we haven't looked there. Yeah.
Can you hear me better now, or is it still garbled?
Yeah.
Oh,
great.
there you are. Yay!
Hey, welcome back.
Okay.
What's up, Bri? Heck yeah.
Lokag approaches the barrels with salted food and starts opening them. And, right, that girl, you get in here now. We feast. He just starts consuming. Just.
Millie turns to X and says, "Oh, they're going to make a mess."
Clifford will help make a mess. And he'll eat with you with reckless abandon.
Millie looks up from tossing over one thumb, his body for valuables, and just sort of shakes her head. Looks up at X again, as if X is going to have to deal with that.
I think Helena would hesitate to join, but I don't think she'd even announce it. She'd just be like, "Oh, this is what we're doing now," and starts shoving it in her mouth like a rodent.
Millie does grab a piece of salted pork as she slips by, squeezing past Lokag and Clifford to look over the doorway in that chamber. Quiet, doors locked. Old, pretty old construction. Looks like old weathered runes in the door frame. Guess someone should take a look at this. When you all are done eating, of course, she says, kind of leans up against the door with a smile.
Helena, if you want to do the cha-cha, I'll help you and guide you.
Sure. Thinking I'd like to.
Clifford's got he's got like a salted ham hock in one hand, and he's kind of looking at the door, kind of checking it out, going, I don't know, I could probably do this. And he's just kind of chewing at it and trying to be helpful, pointing at things. So I'll give you a little aid, a little help action if you want to do it.
Heck yeah.
What should I roll then?
Investigation.
With advantage?
Mm-hmm.
And guidance.
And guidance, yeah.
Okay, and then that's a D4, right?
Mm-hmm. 13.
Oops.
You do not think that it is trapped. It's an old door. It's heavy set. It's probably going to be a pain in the butt to unlock. Looks like a big key. You've seen these kind of things before, at least things like this in the sewer, and also in city streets. You recognize, and X you would too, the runic band going over the curved doorframe, set in heavy stone, is their funerary glyphs. There's probably a family mausoleum inside this chamber.
Maybe we don't want to go in there. We don't want to wake anybody up.
Well, what if our enemies
Yes.
already woke someone up?
I do.
Oh, he does.
Ominous.
Is it locked or unlocked?
It's
Because
locked.
if it is unlocked. All right. You want to take it or you want me to, Helena?
How are you at it? I don't think I'm pretty good.
I have a +5 in sleight of hand, but I
I
can
got a
guidance
7.
you and help you.
I got a 7.
Yeah.
Oh
you're
yeah,
doing it, man.
I'll give you
Who's
the
got
guidance and help then.
Okay.
+5 as well.
So is that thieves' tools or sleight of hand?
Thieves' tools.
Okay.
But I don't think there's a thing in for thieves' tools in D&D Beyond.
There's not. I just usually say sleight of hand.
Yeah, it's the same roll if you have the skill. Ooh.
Then you can go ahead and roll for guidance.
Nice.
Yeah,
They
man.
26. Nice. It is a heavy lock, and it's not. You don't think it's open very often. The rusted bolt sort of grates and whines as you coax the door. As you coax the bolt back, the door sort of shudders forward, free now to swing. Unlocked but not opened. Well, I suppose just in case there's anything already awake, Millie shrugs. So that these.
I think X is just going to walk in like he's welcome there.
Okay.
Now, he may very well be wrong, but
Okay. So you swing the doors open. You immediately see into a sort of circular chamber. Over to your left, there's a cubby hole that has a sarcophagus in it. Stairs to your right go downward. There's an ancient strip of red, sort of crimson carpet that goes the length of the room and goes down the stairs as well. It's so old that it's pressed in and seems part of the stone floor. And in places, the cobbles themselves, or the flagstones, stand out from the layers of fabric worn away. The place is silent. There's the smell of chemicals, a faint tang in the air, a faint burning to your nostrils.
Can I do a survival on that to see if it's something familiar? 15.
What does Helena do? Is X and Clifford just slip right past you as soon as you unlock the door and they just blow past you?
You're like, what is this?
She stays towards the outside of the room because that's the safest part of the room, and
Nice.
sort of looks back, making sure nothing happens. I mean, she's not going to abandon him just in case, She's definitely freaked out. This is probably a bad idea, but I mean, she opened the door, so.
Lokag, you should go in there.
Did the 15 tell me
Okay, it
anything?
smells kind of funny though.
It doesn't bear any resemblance to any poison gases you've ever heard of or anything like that. X, the smell is somewhat familiar to you. You can make a religion check with advantage. Anyone who's been around undertakers or funerals of among like the elite and like the rich of the city might be able to also make a check. Religion.
16.
Awesome. Well, there's embalming fluid, that's for certain. There's the smell of acids as well. Acids aren't almost never used in embalming, at least not here. You've heard of other practices from other realms, other places where acids are used to sort of clean off the bones and sort of whiten them, and then they're polished and displayed, stuff like that. But here, acids are almost never used for that sort of thing. But they are used in apocryphal rituals, profane rituals involving the dead.
Smells like necromancy.
Yeah, Lokag will go out into the center of the room and kind of look down that hallway.
Okay. So the sarcophagus on your left, there's a likeness of a skeleton carved onto the top of it. It's old and worn. You can see other cubby holes, other sarcophaguses. The ones that you can see, all but one of them look like they've been broken.
X would like to investigate said sarcophaga.
Okay. Go ahead and make that investigation check. You can see, the lid of it is almost 3 inches thick, pretty heavy. The layer of grime and dust in that seam, tells you that this is hundreds of years old. Perhaps 200 years old, 250.
I get a 10 on my investigation. Not so great.
All right. You don't notice anything extra about it, except for that this one's not been bothered for whatever reason. On the table, there are several scrolls wrapped up. There's a cured hide of some leather you don't recognize. There are 2 books. One is open. The other has several strips of paper, bookmarking pages. X, you don't recognize the lettering. It looks like the runes that were carved into the barrels outside. But Clifford, just the page that's open is written in Goblin, the Goblin tongue. Again, that's
Clifford,
strangely accented, strangely...
Yeah.
It's a very different version of the language, but enough that you can... Takes a few minutes, but you think you can understand it.
All right. I'll share whatever I read to everyone.
Pretty quickly, you gather that it is a... steps of a ritual and procedure on bodies. You kind of flip through, find another passage a page later, flip back through to the very beginning, and just take a couple of minutes and go through. After about 5 minutes, you think that this is a book on necromantic rituals.
That's what they meant by meat for the master. They're gonna take everyone and bring them back to life as zombies. That's what it is.
I think this all predates the goblins. This is not them.
No, this is all new.
Yeah. Goblins are just tools.
X is going to scoop up everything that seems like it might be of any
Yeah, and the
value.
scrolls, are there magic scrolls? Are there spells on them?
There's very strange shimmering inks. The ink almost seems to crawl like slithering lines across the page. They are certainly spell scrolls, but again, the language is in Goblinoid. There's some words in there you don't recognize, probably from another language. It looks a little bit like Draconic, or if you sound it out, it sounds a little bit like Draconic. This is nothing like any arcane or holy writing you've ever seen. It definitely looks like this is new and has recently been put in here. The table's recently been cleaned off as well.
Well, should we investigate these sarcophagi? Anything jumps out at us?
Why are we doing this?
The promise
the
of
door.
treasure.
Isn't there doors at the end of the room?
There's another set of doors. Yeah.
To the west.
Let's listen to Helena. What is she concerned about?
There's a book about things coming back from dead, and there's dead things around, and it just we got ones to fight. I don't know. I just don't want to fight dead, smelly things. Okay. Ugh.
Well, better to kill them now before they sneak into our camp in the middle of the night and kill us in our sleep.
And besides, says Millie, wouldn't you rather us fight them than any of the defenseless town folk we've run across?
Wow. Poor little ratlings.
Right? Your ratlings, says Millie helpfully.
It's true. I mean, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, but I just, I mean, it's a little freaky. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you can stand back with X. You're good with that crossbow. Very good with it.
She looks proud of herself and holds up her crossbow and takes a few steps back. Okay, I'm ready then.
Right. So Millie slips on ahead, catching up with Lokag and Clifford. You step up to the first sarcophagus. There's tattered cloth. Some of it's rotted away. You can see sternum and rib bones beneath that. It looks like the face has been like sort of the dust and such has been brushed away from what is clearly a very old body that was inhumed here a good while back, probably 100 years. But there's an oily residue on its chest. It seems to have soaked into the bones as well. Something has been a glyph has been carved into the forehead roughly with a knife, and some other like a dark yellow oil stains the brow of the skull. They, it looks like there's basically the bone has been eaten away a little bit by acid that was sort of maybe brushed on in the shape of a glyph. There's two different smells. So there's a smell from the head, smells like that acid smell. It's only a little bit on each one, but it's still a very strong smell in the room. And on the other side, on the chest and body, it seems to be embalming fluid mixed with something else, some sort of powdered herb or something else. It's kind of like this dried sludge on its chest. The corpse does not move.
Lokag will poke at it with his glaive. Like,
the bones rattle faintly, and a small tuft of dust sort of billows up from the sides that are parts of it that are still dry where the oily sludge wasn't poured onto it.
see, all dead.
I could use my last spell slot to do detect magic. Do y'all want to try that? See if there's anything magical in the room?
Yes.
Or we could take 10 minutes and let you do it as a ritual.
You seem to know a lot about magic, Clifford. Says Millie.
I know a little.
If I do it as
know
a
few
ritual,
things.
does it still
Yeah.
use a spell slot or no?
No.
No. Beautiful thing. But we got to take 10.
Seems wise to save our resources, says Millie.
All right, I'll do that and see if any of these oily undead bones are magical.
All right. I'll hang
And
out
I'll-
with Elena and guard the entrance.
And I'll see what I can learn from the scrolls and stuff that we found on the table as well, and also this sarcophagus in the back.
Okay. The sarcophagus, this one is magical. You can make an arcana check or a religion check. Also, the sarcophagus that have been busted open, those corpses are shining with a very low level of necromantic magic. You think they've been prepared in stages, and the final stage hasn't been reached. They'll probably be animated.
D1 with arcana.
Okay. One of the scrolls is an animate dead. Two of them are gentle repose. Just based on looking at the magic itself. You perhaps you see magic as colored, shimmering, translucent vines that sort of curl around each other with hooked thorns that sort of connect to each other and form different patterns. The colors of those will sort of give you an idea of the school of magic. The rest of it seems to be components, not ones that you would expect to go with these spells, but different practices, different lands. You think the big cured hides are probably used covering the body for gentle repose, or perhaps used to wrap them for certain parts of the process. So this may have been the work that the bugbear was doing. But the door did seem like it hadn't been opened in a long while. Perhaps the bugbear had some other way that it slipped through. Some ability that it had that you didn't know about or didn't display in combat. But everything tells Helena and Amelia that the door hadn't been opened in, a few years probably. Or, several months maybe.
Maybe they wanted the door open. Maybe we'd be helping them out if we opened that door.
Okay. What was magical about the sarcophagus? We just know it's magical, or was
So it is enchanted. Do you think it sort of keeps the stone intact, and acts something like gentle repose? Like you think this would keep whatever was animated, whatever was inside it, from being animated or spoken to, or its sort of soul being caught, or anything like that. It's not uncommon with a very important ancestor buried beneath a noble house to have something like this built into the sarcophagus. So it's not unusual.
So I'll share that with the team, and then I'll ask if they think we should open it or not. Shall we desecrate the tomb? Or
I would not. I would not. They put that on there for a reason. And it's the only way to hold off whatever necromancy is preventing them from being hurt. I wouldn't do it. Is there a label? Do we know who it is? Plaque?
Yeah, give me just a moment. Master Keverin Wrightworth.
Keverin Wrightworth. I don't know if anyone's got any lore on that.
He was a historian. Was a noble member of the court, and like a chronicler for the court.
Okay, if we're going to leave it alone, then I suggest we move along.
Are we going to try these doors and see what lies behind? I suppose if we make a mess, it'll throw off their plans, right? But we don't know what's going to happen to these undead here.
Well, we've gotten this far. And as Lokak says as he approaches the double door.
We could cast Gentle Repose on the bodies, because they're shimmering, right? Well, the bodies are shimmering a little bit with undead preparation.
Yeah, from X's sight. Yeah.
So if we put Gentle Repose on them, on one of them, then it'll keep them from coming to life. Maybe that's worth it
For a time.
I mean, I think I can cast it. What do y'all think? Should I waste? Is it a waste to use the scrolls? How often do you use this?
I'm seeing something here in chat. Lokek saying he has great respect for the dead, and it's against his culture to disturb the remains. X says he believes the soul is important, and that for better or worse, the guy's soul has moved on, and the stuff that's left is just dirt, bone, and ash.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to because I think it's divine, right? So I think Cliff can cast that.
Okay.
I'll prepare. Cliff will do Gentle Repose on the two bodies. Are there 4 bodies here between?
Only 3 of them have been disturbed, but yeah, I think there's a 4th one in the unbroken sarcophagus. Looks like it's been opened.
I think that's the waste of a scroll. Whatever's been done to these bodies has already been done.
Well, it'll prevent them from coming to life.
What does Helena
think? We
think?
care.
Yeah.
Helena is with X. I think she's just thinks it's nothing's happening right now, and lots of other things are.
Well, I'll have it ready. I'll have the scroll ready in case something weird happens.
Okay.
Were the doors magical?
They are not. They are also not locked and look like they've been opened pretty recently. So as Clifford, as you're, you are sort of moved up to the front. But yeah, so Lokag is. I just want to touch back on this because you were talking about opening the sarcophagus. Perhaps it seemed like there's a little bit of debate. Lokag is against it. Clifford doesn't want to disturb the dead. Millie probably doesn't either. But X and Helena both don't really see a problem with it, and perhaps even think there might be something useful or valuable in the sarcophagus. Given that the two of you are, slightly outnumbered by Millie, the tiebreaker.
I mean, I'm reasonably neutral on it.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind disturbing the dead. I just don't want to make them rise and attack us and kill us.
Fair, yeah. You don't see any active effects in this region, so nothing's going to immediately raise these things from the dead. Another goblin equipped with the proper spells and knowledge would have to come here and finish the ritual started on these dead. I don't know if that changes y'all's decisions or thoughts.
I mean, X. So somebody who's just died, whose soul's in transition, that's important to X. X is a death cleric, right? So that's like the most critical time, making sure that the soul gets transitioned properly and all that. What's in these boxes is just garbage, right? So if it's got runes written on its forehead, if we remove the head, does that prevent the animate dead spell from working?
Yeah, the corpse would have to be mostly complete. And that seems to be an important site on the body for them to bind the magic into.
But you'd have to desecrate them in order to stop them from being...
True.
I'm fine with desecrating them. Pop the heads off.
What are Lokag's thoughts as, this X brings this idea up, saying that he thinks this is a good idea?
Lokag is thinking that it's a good thing that we're in Arabelle and not back with his tribes. These aren't Goliath bodies, or they're not, right?
No.
Okay. Then they wouldn't fit in these sarcophagus anyways. But
No.
They, so it's a fine line, but he's just, he's kind of staying quiet. He maybe voices a little objection, like, it's better to let the bodies rest. Their journey in this life is full.
Yeah, the issue is that they've already been desecrated. Like the goblins have already had at them, so we got to make sure that it doesn't get any worse.
But yeah, he's not going to try and stop it or anything.
Millie's torn. She's just, you kind of see her clearly kind of struggle. The threat to the townsfolk of more undead is clearly something that she takes seriously. On the other hand, in regards to, potentially desecrating the dead, she would say, well, I've just recently gotten the gods on my side. I really don't want to piss them off.
Well, can't you consecrate them or something? Can't you just, do your, holy water and consecrate them, So can't you do that?
Well,
Clifford has no idea what it's like to be a cleric. He just knows they do.
Not
Purification.
really. It's not really my wheelhouse.
Well, ain't mine. I mean, it shows on the scroll how to do it, but, maybe we want to keep these. I don't know. How about we open the door and see what's in there? Maybe we'll have answers.
X, if you really think that's going to keep everyone safest, then I think you know best. She kind of gives you a lingering look, saying that she knows there's more to you that you're not saying. But she doesn't, say anything about that. I think
I will do it as respectfully as I possibly can. I just want the runes gone, right? The runes got to be taken away.
All right. Millie nods and sort of murmurs a prayer to Bridget. Trying to convince Bridget that you're doing this for the clan, for the city, for community. Well, I suppose all we could, the rest of us just stand ready. This sarcophagus lid is pretty heavy. It's going to take, definitely need some help. If anyone picked up a crowbar, that would certainly make it easier. But we'll need some athletics checks.
Hey,
Wait, what?
Lokag, I think we need your help.
All right. But I don't like this.
He hands you the crowbar. I have a crowbar. I'll hand you.
All right,
Wait. Just a second. So we were talking about the bodies down here that had been desecrated, right?
Yes, I thought you were most recently talking about this one here, though.
We took care of the desecrated stuff, I think, or we did our best. Now we're doing the other one.
X is not a fan of opening the one that's already sealed.
Okay. That was a misunderstanding then. So the others is what y'all are talking about, removing the heads of the others in these?
Yeah.
All right. Millie sort of, makes her way up closer and sort of looks expectantly at X and says, well, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, no, that part I'll do, no problem. I'll utter a prayer to Matcha as I do it.
No sign from Matcha one way or the other. As you easily pull the skulls up out of each sarcophagus. What do you do with them?
Good question.
Yeah.
Let me think about it for a second.
Yeah.
Maybe we just get them out of the room so they're far away from the bodies. Put them in a bag.
I'll take them with me so we can. Yeah, let's take them back to town. Maybe we can bless them or something, or sanctify them there.
That's not a bad idea. All right. So, door. Are we ready to open the door now?
X will help whoever is. Is it locked or is it open?
It's unlocked, yeah. We'll check in with Helena. What's Helena doing during all this?
I mean, she was ready to, shoot anything that looks suspicious. I think, in the meanwhile, I think she's just generally suspicious because, she's sort of neutral on this one. She's just here to protect her ratlings, So she's like maybe ultra scanning or looking for signs of anything bizarre happening.
Okay. The place is very quiet as Lokag and Millie move up to the other doors. Millie looks back, getting a ready nod from each one of you, and then nods to Lokag.
Lokag swings the doors open.
Okay. There's a darkened chamber. There's 2 oil lamps set in the wall directly west of you. There's a shelf of what seem like large clay pots. There's a desk to your left. It looks like it's been rifled through. Drawers are hanging open. Papers are scattered around the floor next to it. And the bed is rumpled and sunken in as if something too large for it laid heavily in it pretty recently. It smells of bugbear in this chamber.
I know that bugbear.
Kind of looking around for Bubby now. Also, not sure when Bubby will come back.
Okay, yeah. Well, he scampered off. Once you came down here, he scampered off. Looking at the map, over here off to the north. Oh no, sorry. Yep. Scampered off this way.
Let's search around and see what's in here.
Okay.
For traps first.
All right.
I'll do a general perception. I'll keep a lookout.
A book that's torn apart, thick vellum pages, very well made, pretty old. It's a part of it is a description, like a pretty long series of accomplishments of the people that are inhumed in here. There's a lot of people listed in the book that there aren't bodies for. The clay pots with tops to them all have a small placard and a name on them as well. These seem to be even older family dead, perhaps, old enough that they're just dust, or perhaps they were cremated. Crematory practice was, several hundred years ago was a lot more popular. Before, the sewer got well built and sanitation became more of a thing, So you don't find anything, you kind of open up the pots, you don't find anything hidden inside any of them. There is a heavy, very smelly pack of patchwork leather. Inside it are various dirty blades. There's a bedroll, a canteen of pretty tepid and nasty liquid of some sort. It smells like alcohol. Hanks of moldy bread and cheese. It's like rations. And what looks like ritual gear. A blood-soaked bowl, these blades, some ugly grayish clumps of what smells to be like a very acrid incense of some sort. Also in the pack there's 2 other garrotes. These don't seem special like the other one, however. So you think that it is Life Choker's personal effects, his pack. He slept in this room, it seems like.
Smells like him. My passive survival would tell me it smells like the guy who tried to choke me to death.
Yeah. Yeah, there's everyone has their own scent. So yeah, you definitely got up close and personal with Life Choker.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Any investigation for Lokag doesn't turn up anything additionally. Millie's not very skilled in it, so she hangs back, ready as an arrow in case anything happens. What about Helena? Is she help with investigation? Is she readying an action, or just hanging back and sort of waiting for Bubby, looking out nervously for him, or?
That also, but yeah, I mean, I've wanted a ready action to shoot anything that seems harmful.
Okay.
That could be disastrous, I admit.
You all don't turn up anything. Let's see here. 15.
15 frags, yeah.
Okay. You find underneath the oil lamps, behind the shelf of clay pots, there's a large, maybe 5 large stones that seem loose. As you rap on them, it seems somewhat thinner stone. You think you found some sort of secret door or panel.
Is that his way in and out of here, I assume?
It's hard to say. We're not sure.
I guess what I'm asking is it look like more of an entranceway or something that they would hide something in a wall, for example?
You barely spotted it. It doesn't look like if it's a door, it doesn't look like it's been opened in a long time.
Okay. Any traps on it or anything like that? Or
Not that you see.
All right, I'll start moving the stones a little bit.
Okay. You can make a sleight of hand or a thief tool check. Either of those.
I think I'll try to get Helena involved if she wants to come over and do this.
Sure.
So far, she has been very adept at these things.
You know, what can you say? You gotta break into things to get some food, you know, supplies. You just, you know, it's your life.
I'll give her what guidance I can to help.
Okay. So as you move up, you find the panel, the sort of, it's all one piece, but it's cut and shaped to look like several pieces of stone fitted together. It's only about an inch thick. There's no handholds or anything like that, but you can slip your tools around the cracks and try to, grab onto something and see if you can open it. So go ahead and make that thief tool check with guidance.
With guidance, not advantage.
Millie can help you. She can give you advantage.
Yeah, if I can help.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Clifford.
I'll mansplain. Oh, no, don't touch that.
I'm sure that it definitely gives me the advantage.
It gives Helena a disadvantage. She's just irritated. All right. Yeah. So once spotted, you have to kind of, the shelves are in the way. Lokag, you end up having to kind of pull those back carefully not to break any of the pots. And you open a small cubby hole. There's dust. There's a small rusted steel chest. Leaning up against one side seems to be a mottled, sort of dust-covered oiled cloth. And leaning against the other side, there is a ebony and brass rod of looks like a scepter of rulership kind of thing, like a king or queen might have when they're sitting on the throne.
Magical?
It is magical. Both the leather wrap bundle and the rod are magical.
Good find.
Says Millie. That bundle looks suspiciously sword-like, although it could be a bow. She shrugs.
Open.
Open the bundle.
Okay, so you pick up the bundle. You start to unwind the leather from it. And inside, the blade looks like a rapier, but instead of having that sort of cupped basket hilt, it has a long sword, sort of cruciform hilt on it. Well, not quite cruciform, it curves upward, sort of around the blade. But the blade is very narrow and very long. It looks light, it's very well balanced. This style of sword felt like, the basket hilt became popular like 300 years ago. The way the handle is, there's a certain way it's wrapped. And Clifford and X, you both would recognize that this is really old sword. You all can make history checks, everyone that looks at it.
I assume it's finesse.
Mm-hmm. Right. I guess X, you would also make this with advantage, given your particular history. Let's roll one for Millie.
18 for X.
And guidance
Okay.
for X, too.
Nice. Roll that guidance.
Still, 19's pretty good.
I'm pretty sure that this sword belonged to an old hero, not one of the Tuatha De Danann, but one of a pair of, there's a tale of a figure named Diarmuid, who there's some pretty tragic stories about. But you think this is Diarmuid's blade? It's not blazing with magic, but it's certainly enchanted. And more than just a powerful, a well-made enchanted blade, it has some sort of other effect on it. You have to make an Arcana check or a religion to discern that, sort of study it for several minutes. Looking at the weave of thorny, vibing magic. Okay, go ahead and make religion or arcana. Nat 20. Oh my goodness. Okay.
A total of 23.
Nice. Yeah. Legend said stories about Diarmuid. He was very fast, very cunning, very agile. But he was also rather tricksome and very charismatic. He was said to be, very gifted at finding the light in the area and flashing it off of his blade to blind his enemies, to give them maybe, a disadvantage in combat. But you think that's actually something the blade just does. You think at least maybe once a short rest, it might just put a burst of light out and potentially blind for a very short amount of time, maybe one round, could blind a series of opponents in front of the target. Not everyone, in a radius, but sort of in a cone in front of them, a quadrant, say. And yeah, you expect it has a basic enchantment, mechanically +1, and this once per short rest ability.
Nice.
But you also think the sword requires attunement. You think the person has to sort of sit with the blade. It's a blade. It's a poet's blade, and he was said to have, carried the blade everywhere and spoke to it. So there's some weapons where you have to sort of engage them and know something about them to access their power, and this is one of them. And so that attunement process would sort of look like that, like sitting down, listening to, thinking back over old stories of Diarmuid, or finding perhaps another relic of his or something would also help. But yeah, the blade would definitely need to be attuned to make that possible. Otherwise, it would just be a +1 rapier.
Clifford would be interested in attuning if nobody else does.
X will hand you the sword.
Hang tight. I just want to pause on that, just to make sure everyone gets a chance to speak on that. And Millie's not here this session. I'm not sure. We'll check out her bonuses and stuff too. And everyone might be fine with this, but I just want to double check. I know, Clifford, you picked up a lot of the loot that's been found. So I just want to make sure everyone's getting their moment, and if they want something, they're getting their time to speak up, because some of us are more shy or want to rock the boat and stuff like that. So, yeah. So thank you, and I appreciate that, Nick.
Yeah, I don't know who else is a finesse fighter.
Yeah. I'm not sure about Millie.
But Helena tends to be in the range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Millie's 50-50, so I'm thinking, Helena, maybe X, maybe, and also Clifford might be. So
Yeah, X could use it, but I want to stay at range. I mean, I really don't have ambition to get into close combat.
okay.
Yeah.
If we could take this up, see, what I was thinking is maybe we could convince the flame to transfer it to a different weapon. So whatever enchantment there is here, maybe we could just pass it to a different weapon using the Flame of Bridget. That's what I was thinking.
I mean, I could definitely use it now as it is pretty effectively, and I am the one who's getting into the mix with things. So
True. Helena, how does that feel to you? You've been ranged a lot.
I like being ranged,
Mhm.
at least at this point. It didn't grab me initially, so
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
also like fine workmanship, and Clifford's really a big fan of like the craft. He's got the tinker tools, and like he really wants to have like the finest
Yeah.
stuff. He's a
Well,
bit of an
you do,
aficionado.
because Millie already has a sword she enchanted in the flame, and she's 50-50, 14 dex, 14 strength. So yeah, if that sounds good for that, cool. Clifford, take it. And again, Nick, thanks for being patient with me on that.
Yeah, sure. No, it's good to
heck yeah.
negotiate it all.
Yeah, I just
So
want to
it's
make
a
sure it's a rapier. Yeah.
+1 rapier.
+1 rapier.
Cool. Nice.
And we'll get into the mechanics the first time you use that blinding ability.
I'll put a little note.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, it's once per short rest at the moment.
Blinding blade. Got it.
All right. So, 10 minutes, or 5 minutes looking over the blade, passing it over to Clifford. There's the rod. There's also a small rusted chest in there as well. The chest doesn't seem to have a lock, just a simple clasp on it. Well, all right, what about the rod then? Says Millie. That's rather shiny looking. You, anybody recognize that? You all can make history checks on that as well.
Actually, did pretty good.
Nice. Okay. Pretty sure that this is Ogma's rod, or Ogma's staff, as it's also known.
Oh.
It has, the polished brass and jet, like ebony stone. Ogma staff. And yeah, it's definitely magical. Enchantment. It can alter its own properties. You can make another religion or arcana for this as well. Taking another several minutes to look over it.
I don't know nothing about religion.
Ooh, X, not on it this time.
The only thing you can tell about it is that it's damaged, and likely using it might break the weapon. Not catastrophically, but it might be the last time the item gets used. But more, you'd have to look over it again later, with sort of more time and a more peaceful environment, and get another check on that.
Okay. Cool. Does this Ogma is a cleric, right?
Ogma is one of the gods, one of the Tuatha De Danann. Is the one that built the great the temple that still stands, that punched through the bottom of the Goblin stone when it fell. Was the great builder, architect, also codified a bunch of different groups, systems of runes into one alphabet and language, brought mathematics, like just did all this sort of fundamental thinking, or at least penned all this stuff down. He didn't start it all, but a builder, an architect, planner. The only story you know about the Rod of Ogma is that he always had it when he was visiting a build site, like even just like breaking ground or as parts were being built. And was never without it when he was building a piece of architecture or fixing and writing an older piece of architecture. But no one, there's not any stories exactly on what he did with it and what it did.
To be clear, this is not one of the artifacts from the temple.
It is not. Right? It is not. It is a lesser, like, it's a relic, but it's not an artifact in power. In fact, the magic that you see in it is only maybe a little bit more powerful than some of your weapons and armor.
Cool. So I say we head back to the square then, or do we still want to investigate that sewer?
I think it's time to head back. I'm pretty worse for wear.
Well, are we sure we want to head back? We talked about resting in the other manor, says Millie. And
that works too.
We definitely have some people to watch out for us if we want to if anyone needs a longer rest, although the plan was still to get to the stone. Oh, while you're looking, Millie hands you the amulet that the goblin wore. It's the little rough outline of what you think was Grumsh.
Yeah, the cross-eyed guy.
Yeah. It is, again, make a religion or arcana check. Anybody who has that can help You have to have proficiency in those, of course, to do that. Checking Millie. I don't think she's got Arcana.
Kind of
Let's
religious.
check again.
Arcana or religion. Yeah, Millie's got neither.
What the heck?
All right, nice. Oh, sorry, I got a little bit. Jar Jar's asked about the clasp chest. Which item were we looking at again?
The amulet,
Yeah,
the
right.
guy with the
Thank
cross
you.
over his eye.
Helena, this seems to be well based on what X is describing to you. He's using totally different words, but from you, it sounds like the person's describing a key to something. It's definitely of that. It reminds you of the sort of. There's magic within the Goblin Stone. The place is steeped in it, just like the city is. But two vastly different types and opposing types of magic, sort of steeped into the stone itself. This amulet, it reminds you of that magic. Millie reminds you that guards and the guards at the other house and some of the guards, well, they did die in the last attack on the square, but they had mentioned watching holes open in the side of the stone and goblins come out. And each time they had one of these goblin witch doctors with them. It's possible that this amulet is a key to open one of the pore-like doorway into the stone so you can actually get into it on the ground level as opposed to going down to the basement or the bottom of it. Well, I don't love the idea of you all going into the stone without me, but if that's the mission, or there's also talk of wanting to, well, if Bubby turns up anything, she grins over at Helena, then perhaps you'll be following up after the whatever trail our little ratling finds. But I can take Evram and the other guards back to the square and get them settled in. Just need to know where I should meet you when I come find you. Are you going to be in the stone, or should I wait at the square and you'll come back there? Just have to know where to meet you. And while
I'm
you're
still worried about them taking this place again. Maybe we need reinforcements to come from the square and hold this location.
It's not a terrible idea, although it is a little far from the square if we wanted to support this place. We'd have to go through the whole sewer or the streets. It's not a long walk, but the city's full of terrors. Daytime is safer.
I'm worried about leaving this place without holding on. They seem to want it.
I think we have to. The agenda for X now, since we've figured out that whoever's coming to this place, the root guy, is likely one of the leaders.
Mm-hmm.
X would really like to be here to, balance things and terminate that guy tomorrow. If he's going to show up, I think it's an opportunity for us to minus one goblin leader. That's what I'm going to pitch to the group.
What if we rest here? We rest here, and if they come, we're ready to fight. If not, we're in better shape. We can hold up in this room.
Millie, what does Helena think about that? I mean, Pon, what does Helena think about that?
I honestly, I don't know. I was hurting really bad for a moment, so
goodness.
I couldn't pay attention the last 5 minutes or so.
We can see what the rat says, too.
That's true. He's not back yet.
Yeah. We wait and see.
So the thought, just put briefly, Pon, was hanging here and resting, and since you know there's going to be another hobgoblin leader that's going to come here tomorrow with a contingent of hobgoblins, that you could set a trap for them and subtract one of the leaders, which X needs to do. His goddess wants him to do.
I love traps. How many are we talking?
You're not sure what a contingent in their language describes, but probably at least 10, maybe up to 20 hobgoblins. It's a lot to fight at once, but if you all prepared the space, you wouldn't have to fight them all.
Collapse a building on them or set it on fire.
Always with the fire, Millie smiles. Still, that fire is maybe looking like a slightly better idea. Still, defacing the city property.
You will. Oh, God, defacing city property. God, you all come around to my way of thinking. Eventually, I assure you, because eventually there will be no other way to trap things. What, do you have any traps? You have for 10 goblins, maybe more? I don't think so. Building is quick. Go build a new one. Jobs. Everybody will be happy.
What are Lokak's thoughts?
I do not think they will be coming through the basement, so perhaps setting the fire trap in the upstairs door would be the best way to go. Best of both worlds. You get to make a trap, and the trap creates fire. So, this sounds like plan to me.
Jar Jar had an idea. Said you have the oil, and there were some. They did have some supplies left behind. They had some really rough trap making stuff. Nothing really valuable, but you could definitely make some tripwires. Set up some flasks of oil to coat an area that then somebody could set fire to, and that sort of thing.
I have blasting powder as well, if that helps.
True enough.
But don't want to use too much of it.
I'll tell you what, let's go ahead. I think this is a good spot to take a short break. And I'm going to go ahead and... I am going to step away first and grab some water and a couple of things. And I could think about, what we want to do as individuals on our short break. And who's able to hang back and chill with the audience for a minute while we shuffle in and out taking breaks. Cliff, are you good to hang, or you need to step away? All right. Well, I will.
I can hang out if needed.
Okay. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, and I'll hang out. I'm here.
I'll be right back.
Heck yeah.
Pop in on Twitch. What's up, Twitch land?
So I can talk about my stuff then. Just babble. Fill the
Sure.
time.
Yeah, go for it. I'm interested.
So with my RPG channel, I've been working on that over the course of the last few weeks, and I've added a bunch of stuff to it. I've got a Patreon up and running for it now. So
Cool.
as I do my character builds, I will put any of the images that I use in there for Patreon subscribers. And I went into D&D Beyond, and I started building out the characters with character sheets. So for the builds that I've done, if you just want to play them, I did them for 1, 3, 7, and 10. So if you wanted a pre-built character to just grab and run for a one-shot or something like that, you could grab the character sheets for any of the characters that I'm building. So trying to make some tools there for people who want to use them. See if anybody's interested in that kind of stuff, and if people want it, then keep doing it, and if they don't, then they'll vote the other way, and obviously it won't be won't be something that takes off. But I think for the idea, I don't know if you've looked at the builds that I've done, Nick, but I'm basically trying to do character builds for D&D, but in a way where I'm doing a group at a time. So
Yeah, you're building a team that
Yeah,
works
so
well.
the first 4 characters, the first team is out. So if a DM wanted like a 4-character team to fight PCs, you could also just like grab the team at level 7 and put them in and fight your characters with them or something. So I don't know. I think it could be useful for people. So I posted that stuff up.
That's nice. It's always helpful.
Yeah, and then I put a really high tier on the Patreon, and I figured if somebody really wants to support me, they can do it that way, and I would appreciate it. And then I'll run a raffle for those folks every month, and whoever wins, if they want me to build a character for them or help them with their character's story or whatever, I'll sort of do that as a service for whoever wins the monthly draw. And it's some ideas I had to see if the community wants to do that kind of stuff. So, but
Cool.
That's all set up and running for anybody who wants to join. I also made a Discord. I'll probably have to get some help from somebody to make the Discord better, but I just established it and got it started, so
Good.
people
Have a
can
place
go
to
over there
go.
and discuss.
Cool. Here, I'll be right back. I gotta do.
All right, so I guess I'm on my own to entertain the chat then. So I'll just talk about that team of 4 that I built, and for anybody who's interested in that kind of thing or still listening on the break. So basically, it's a team of 4 characters. One of them's basically a warlock. We take 1 level of paladin, and then we take warlock levels. And the new warlock stuff in 2024 is really nice for a damage build. So you can really take a warlock down the path of being a melee combat fighter. They get extra attack around the same time that most characters would get extra attack. And then at level 11, fighters got a 3rd attack, and that was kind of exclusively the fighters that got that. Now warlocks can get that at level 13 of warlock. So you can continue the path of the close combat fighter. So this character combines close combat, big hits with Armor of Agathis, so that anything that attacks gets retribution damage back. Second character is a cleric, and the cleric will put warding bond onto the warlock, so that the warlock always takes half damage. That makes Armor of Agathis last much, much longer. And especially at higher levels, when you've got a 5th level Armor of Agathis doing 25 damage on the crackback for anybody that attacks, making that last longer, getting 3 or 4 hits out of that Armor of Agathis before it goes away makes it a really powerful spell. I mean, if you can get 100 points of damage into your enemies for them hitting you without having to do anything, that's action economy at its best in the game. So the cleric also has, obviously, Spirit Guardians is a big spell now and can take out the area of effect kind of targets when there's multiple targets that need to be taken down. That's the cleric's job in this particular group. The 3rd character is a ranger rogue combination, and it's meant to be the skill person for the party, so they'll eventually even pass up the warlock who's got 20 charisma, eventually pass that character up as far as social skills go too, by grabbing expertise at higher rogue levels. But that's a kind of a do-it-all kind of character. She's got crossbow expert as the first feat, and will either use heavy crossbows at long range or hand crossbows at short range, and just do damage. It's also the character that's going to carry the bless for the party, so that's kind of fun to have it on a character that isn't the cleric, to free up the cleric to do spirit guardians and other things. And then the 4th character is monk barbarian. It's a strength-based monk, meant to use all the new rules for pushing things around and doing the best they can with the grapple rules. So grappler, first feat, and just move 2 characters close together. Once you get 2 characters within 5 feet of each other, the warlock can cleave, the cleric can put spirit guardians on multiple targets, the ranger has abilities that affect 2 targets, and the monk has some pretty special stuff with the Way of the Drunken Master that you can redirect an enemy's attack into another enemy that's within 5 feet if they miss. So there's just a bunch of fun stuff in this group that happens if you could put 2 targets together. If there's a lot of targets, of course, you just fight them like a normal fight, and Spirit Guardians will carry a lot of the weight. If there's just 1 or 2, like one of the combats that I fought that's iconic, I feel like this combat is my memory as one of the stereotypical fun D&D combats. There was a really the end boss was this knight in armor, melee character, and the other person in combat was a wizard in the background. So there was a faraway wizard that was casting long-range spells, and a close-up melee combatant that was a legendary monster. And this was many editions before, so it's not 5th edition rules. But I always remember that fight because the wizard in back was just so annoying. It was so bad. But you couldn't get to him. You couldn't get around the fighter and get to the back and manage it. This group would have no problem with that. The monk would go grab the wizard, drag him up front, put him right next to the knight, and both of those characters would be suitably punished for daring to fight the party. So fun stuff. I think it's a fun party. The characters are built to work together. There's a bunch of synergy. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, I do not only just the character builds, but I also give them a personality and background, and maybe that's inspiration for somebody for building a character of their own. I don't expect anybody to obviously play the character exactly as I wrote it, but that's kind of the idea.
It's a great place to start from, though. And yeah, I've been kicking around some ideas. For those characters to run a couple of one-shots or a short little series.
Put them through their paces.
Yeah, put them through their paces. Proof of concept kind of thing. See what they can do. So yeah, we're kind of talking about that.
It does make me nervous though, because I've played some D&D. And you like some pretty tough combats, DM.
I do. I just find them more fun to run. For me, it's more engaging, for a lot of different reasons. Yeah. But yeah,
I agree. I mean, you know I love that. You know I love it.
Yeah, well, you keep coming back for more, so you must.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the proof of concept, if it's like a 4X deadly adventure, it might not look very provable, but...
Well, yeah, that's why we'll talk a little bit more and get an idea, because we want to give them a fair test, So that means the right challenge, but also not just trying to grind, make a meat grinder for your characters, but
exactly
something that's doable but challenging for them,
Yeah, and I think conceptually the problem that some people run into is that they pick a module, and the players don't really know what to build, so they just build whatever sounds nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the module, and the module's kind of set up in a certain way where if you don't have certain skills or abilities or whatever, it makes...
That's why Rangers and Bards sucked in so many editions for so many years, because of the campaigns style that they were played in, I think.
Yeah, so it's nice if you didn't know how to build a party and you could just grab some characters and say, okay, well, I know these characters are going to work. They're going to do something. It's going to be fun. I started working on my second set of characters too, a little bit. So hopefully I'll be able to issue 1 team per month. That's my goal. See if I can do a team each month.
Nice. Heck yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to setting up some content for them too. And yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to run, take my own break just for a second.
Sure. Okay. All right. So, as far as our viewers, like, do y'all, how many of y'all are in campaigns at the moment? Jar Jar, are you playing any games? Do you have the kind of time to do that? I know Valentine is. Valentine's playing at 2 different tables of mine. Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, okay, Jar Jar, you stepped away because you're on the kettle.
I'm in I'm in a few games. I've been playing Pathfinder 2. It's a little bit of a different game. A lot more niddly piddly, a lot of details.
Mm-hmm.
But we're in a place called Arden Vool, and it was like an old module from way back, and I think they brought it back and into Pathfinder 2, and it is huge. It is a very large sandbox. A lot going on with like lots of underground ruins, temples, and factions all working from different spots within this. Pretty cool, yeah. Arden Vool. I've been doing it now for a couple of years. It's been going real slow. I got a GM who likes to make things tough too, so we're like 5th level after 2 years.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're it's been good. It's like all my college friends, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit, give a little bit more XP out than that. I think DL's current game, we've been playing for 2 years, and they're 9th level, 8th level, 9th level.
Pretty reasonable. That's a bit reasonable.
Yeah.
If you're playing Meek, I mean, that's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
question. It's reliable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I rarely cancel. I guess so recently I got approved to put content up on the marketplace on Roll20. So I'm
cool.
working on some stuff. Yeah. So there's a lot to learn, like nuts and bolts, and there's some like kind of not scripting, but spreadsheets and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
figuring all that stuff out. But soon I'll have some content up on the air, and I'll be sending
That's
it to
great.
you all and asking you all to sort of play test it out, and just give you all free copies for it. So, and that goes for people on stream who would be willing to help me, viewers who would help me play test stuff. Just whisper me and we'll talk about it. But yeah. So that is it's a lot of different stuff to go through. Different sort of pricing guidelines and quality control content, and then the actual nuts and bolts of how to enter everything and put it up there. So, but I'm excited about that because I really want to share all the different maps and little stories and scenarios that I've come up with over the past years out there for people to play with for a nominal fee. Welcome back, Pompon.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Big Bri.
I'm making some tea, but it's just around the corner, so I can hear everything. I have to run away to finish it real quick at the moment, but it's not going to interrupt nothing.
I am jealous. I should have made tea.
Oh.
I was asking if Pompon, if you were going to say something about Mythicus.
Oh, thank you. So, we were wondering where that went.
Yeah, let me see what I can do, because it should just be up.
Thank you, Jar Jar.
Interesting. Give me a minute to mess with that.
Actually been expanding my horror movie viewing. I don't know, exposure. I didn't really watch a lot of scary movies throughout most of my life, but I don't know. Recently, I've been finding a different angle. Stranger Things kind of pulled me in a little bit. And what was the one it was Nightmare on Elm Street I saw for the first time a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was pretty spooky and pretty cool. And I just saw Hellsing the other day. That was pretty awesome. Of course, I just kept thinking of like Wolverine the whole time, but especially when he becomes a wolf at the end, and I'm like, oh look, it's Wolverine. Oh god.
I'm proud of you on that one.
Thanks. It's like, oh, he's not gonna die. He's got all the healing abilities. I can't separate Hugh Jackman from Wolverine at this point. I mean, he's great, and I love him in other movies. He's a great romantic comedy guy, even. Kate and Leopold, anyone? But, yeah. Oh, the monsters were great in that movie. They were very creepy. Very on point. I like monster fights, too. Werewolf versus Crazy Dracula. I was in. And that's a comedy. I kind of thought. I thought a little. Yeah, I mean, it had its moments. You know, I was like, wait a minute, but also it was badass. You know, so is it really? Was it really supposed to be a comedy?
There's definitely funny parts.
Elvira's Haunted Hills last night. Oh yeah, man, I love Elvira. Now that's one I have seen.
All right, Mythicus is back up there. Not sure what happened. All right, let's see here. I'm not.
Somebody mentioned.
Go ahead.
Somebody mentioned the music wasn't playing.
Should be able to hear it. All right. It's reading that it's playing through on my end.
Gonna finish making my tea.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So as you all, consider the plan, what your next moves are. Millie offering to take the guards, make safely to the square, but perhaps you'll want them here if you decide to rest in this area and ambush the hobgoblins when they come. If you do, Millie reminds you all that up top, at least one goblin was constantly had, or not constantly, but there was often visual communication going on between the top of the wall and the upper level of this manor house. So to keep your ruse intact, someone will have to disguise themselves as a goblin and try to use their signals or figure out their signals.
Sounds like fun.
Might be something I can do. Risky.
All right. Well, Millie says, I guess if we wanted to rest here, might be best for me to stay and for the guards to stay. Depends on what you think the plan is. If you all do want to use this place and ambush them, it's not a bad idea. It's definitely going to attract a lot of attention either way, but we can probably slip away. Then Bubby might come back with information too, right? She looks over to Helena.
Hopefully. I mean, really, that would be quite sad if she did. If they didn't. I don't really know what Bubby is, to be honest. Very old. It's harder to tell. Like most of us.
He's a good rat, says Millie.
But didn't they say they were massing for another attack on the town square tonight?
No, you don't. That's.
I thought they were going to be back here tomorrow. They're planning to come back to where we're.
Yeah, the second wave is going to start tomorrow, and a contingent of hobgoblins is going to be stationed here. By the judge of the orders, it seemed like this was happening in several other places around the city, too. Like, groups of hobgoblins are moving out and taking positions. Nice.
Let's see what the rat says. I'm willing to wait for the rat while we plan and attune.
All right. Well, how long should we wait? Could take the little rat a while to find anything.
I'll trust the rat lady.
You don't.
I do.
Oh, whoa.
I trust your rat. He's not going to ditch us, is he?
I never before in my life.
Yeah. He's got to come back for the food, right?
You can count on that. So if Bubby doesn't return, well, it's probably not a good sign.
We have to rescue him.
Absolutely.
All right, well. So we wait, says Millie. But maybe not down here. She makes her way back up.
Yeah, I think we hold in this barrel room.
There's food. There's worse places to hold up.
Yeah. And they're going to want to come and get it.
Okay.
When they're actually coming through, I like this area right here. Because we can control the stairs from coming down, going up, shoot through the arrow slits.
Yeah.
Depends on where they come from, right? Says Millie. If they're coming overland through the streets, and yeah, we'll be able to catch them when they come down here. So it depends on what the plan is, I suppose. Are we trying to draw them down here? Do we want to do as Helena suggested and set the place on fire when it's full of goblins? Then I think that's a good plan, she says. We can give them a hell of a fight down here. Just prepare the area as best we can. Clifford, I imagine you have some ideas, and Helena, you might too, on how we can get some maximum carnage, slow them down, make best use of those stairs.
Do we have anything sticky? She starts rummaging through her pack.
Might be some honey.
Got that gray potion. Don't know what this is.
Somewhere. Maybe in the smithy, or somewhere, maybe a storage shed. There's likely some pitch. Seal the roof up, that sort of thing. I'll see what I can find, says Millie. She wanders off. Shopping list, she says, and looks around. Anything else I should look for upstairs? Extra rope, sharp things, poles. Okay, what else can we use for traps? Never been much of a trapper myself, she says, and kind of looks to Clifford and to Helena.
Rope. I think some rope.
Things sticky.
We'll set up a snare at the bottom of those stairs.
Rope, something sticky, sharp stuff, poles. I feel like poles could be useful.
X is always a fan of caltrops.
I doubt the nobles kept any here. But I'll look about.
Well, just the idea of littering sharp stuff for them to walk over.
We'll see if there's a scrap bin in the smithy. Maybe some shards of metal. Okay. She breezes off and slips up the stairs, clambering deftly over the fallen goblin bodies that litter the staircase. What does Helena do for the next little while then? As Bubby's gone for over an hour.
She definitely. I mean, there's this storage room right over here where we were fighting, right? Can I check that out? Maybe see if there's any like rope, netting, sticky stuff, smelly stuff.
So this is all foodstuffs, but in the corner there's a hatch that goes up to the smithy.
Well, I didn't know if there was any like. I don't know, food, because that's what I was thinking. That food, there was anything like honey, even, or flour.
Yeah, there's both. In one of the small cases, there's spices and honey, and a sealed jar of what you think is like, crystallized sugar.
Okay. Well, that's a start. Yeah, I would like to take all those things and is there anywhere I don't know if there's enough time, but like, is there a stove in here?
Yeah, there's kitchens on the first floor.
Because I was wondering if I could put the honey and the water and the sugar all together in a pot, and boil the crap out of it.
Caramelize it.
Yeah, and make a nasty paste that I can put all over the floor. That'll probably slow them down and, I don't know, mess some stuff up. And get on some stuff and, I don't know, make everything difficult. Maybe clog up their weapons.
Okay. Yeah, you can definitely do that. There's a cistern in the kitchen on the first floor. There's a stove. There's wood and coal, and there's pots and such. You can get that going for sure.
Okay. Well, that is what Helena does, and also she figures it might smell good too. They're stupid creatures. They might want to go over there and lick the steps or something. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely so. Pretty soon, yeah, the house starts to smell like caramel.
Well, with that in mind, right where the entrance to the building is, where we assume that they would come in from the street. I mean, could we put some food out on the table, poison it, and expect them to eat it? Maybe they'll just walk in, see food, and go, it's...
Good idea.
I like that.
We do have a vial that we got off of One Thumb. It's murky orange. She kind of swishes this thick liquid around in the vial. She hands it to X. Poison some food.
Stare at it for 10 minutes.
I thought you were going to use that.
But do we know for sure what it is? Do we know that it's poison?
No. It's not magical, but yeah, you can make a survival check. But yeah, if you have any sort of alchemy proficiency or poison use or anything like that, then you can make the check with advantage. It is definitely a poison. You think, yeah, it's an. There's just, certain acridness to it. You're not sure what the plant matter it was, but yeah, you think it's basically like liquid nicotine, like purified nicotine, incredibly potent, potent enough that it could be used as a contact poison as well. So it could be used on blunt weapons. It could be eaten also. It's incredibly toxic, and there's a decent amount, considering how condensed it is,
All right, well, we'll set that up tomorrow so it's fresh. We need to figure out this goblin hand waving too in the meantime.
Yeah, hard to talk to dead goblins. Unless, she looks around hopefully to the group, Anyone has any new abilities that they wanted to share? Cliff? Seen any ghosts lately?
Ha. Not really my thing.
X? Seeing dead people recently?
Not unless we use that animate dead scroll.
I don't know that it's going to be really talkative if you use that. Well,
I don't have speak with dead, so.
Well, I know X, Clifford, Helena, you're all pretty observant about people. Maybe just catching eyes with the other goblin lookout. Maybe you can get an idea of.
I'd be willing to
just
sneak
observe.
out there, and I'd be willing to hide and sneak and kind of observe and watch them. Maybe try to get some insights on their communication, and it might help that I know the language. I don't mind taking the risk.
I think Lokag should go. He's closest to the size of a goblin.
Right.
Give me some fur, I could be a bugbear, I guess.
It's just a matter of getting out there without them seeing us.
I think Helena would have an interest in observing that because she likes observing creatures and the way that they move and interact, and she likes to imitate their ways and stuff. So
We can go together, and I'm translate.
together.
Tell you what they're saying.
Two little rats in a pod, says Millie.
I'll go too, so I can throw guidance from the background.
All right.
You know, cleric
that-
stuff.
Does that mean going upstairs? Where?
Yeah.
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 I'm fine with doing that. Can always run.
Okay. Let's see
Want some
here.
stealth checks?
Absolutely.
All right.
Stealth and either insight or investigation.
Hmm. 20 insight, 10 stealth.
All right, revealing a little bit more of the map, which will help bring us over to so coming up into the topmost point into this into this tower top. It's surrounded by windows that look out around the city. It's a sort of narrow, steep walled tower for as tall as it is. You can look down at the rest of the house as the tower looms out over the house and other buildings around it. So, creeping up toward the windows and looking in from the corners or the sides, you do, after about 10 minutes, spot a goblin who kind of pops up, likely standing on a crate or something on the far side of the wall and the battlements. Sort of looks over, looks toward the window, and waits. His head is up for, he waits for maybe a couple of minutes. Seems to get impatient. You can all make perception checks as the goblin turns and is speaking to someone below, but it's 60 feet away or so.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, heck.
Okay.
Still no sign.
Not Hammerface. Not Grunge Killer. Not One Thumb. You hear a faint response. Clifford, you can translate from Goblin. Keep waiting. I will confer with the stone.
I'll let Helena know what they're saying. Do I pick up any of their signals? Can I store them for later?
No, because he's speaking verbally down to one below. Yeah. But you can watch their mannerisms. Let's see here. And X, knowing all sorts of different hand signals and gestures that get passed around as that are part of the sort of cloud of language that is Thieves' Cant. You might be able to observe them long enough. The insight check for Clifford. Pretty good, just observing and watching their body language, and certain signs are almost universal. So between those, somebody could attempt a deception check, provided they had a disguise, and attempt to fake it. Because you're not really sure. You haven't seen any demonstration of their hand speech yet.
I think we'll wait. Maybe we go back in and tell everyone what we discovered. And, sounds like they're going to wait until they find out more. And they mentioned, and I mentioned the names, Grunge Killer and One Thumb.
Grudge Killer must be the name of the Hobgoblin. Not a name we've heard.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been too important. Went down pretty quick. She grins. All right, well. Any thoughts? Should we put Cliff in a disguise and go ahead?
Oh, I was going to say, I think somebody should cosplay a goblin.
I mean, I can be a hobgoblin if I have to, or if you want to, but you won't be able to speak. Yeah, nobody else speaks goblin, right?
I'd like to learn.
Well, I can teach you a couple words, but I'm not sure that's going to pass here. Look, I got a couple tricks. It's some weird blood magic. I'm not a huge fan of using it, but I guess I don't know, this might be the right time. And if he wants to, he can just out of character. He's a Gloomstalker. He can change. He has disguised self, so he can look just like one of them. But the way I'm doing it is that he has to have their blood and to become them. So so if the hobgoblin's laying around, he'll walk over to the body and touch the blood and start wiping it in patterns on his face and his cheek and around his neck and begin to change and shift until he looks like one of them. What was it, Grunge Killer? Was that his name? Grudge Killer?
Grudge Killer, yeah.
Yeah, so he'll try to look like Grudge Killer.
As you all watch Clifford, smearing, at this point, well, yeah, some of it is partially congealed blood on his cheeks. There's where the light highlights on his cheekbones and such sort of glimmer and shine, almost this, a strange, unwholesome glow And at the same time, shadows in his face, his nostrils, any lines or seams, wrinkles on his face, all seem to deepen. The light seems to ripple and shift, and almost as if his form drinks in the light. It gets slightly dimmer around him as his features shrink, narrow, and elongate into, these creatures that look like something between an elf and a goblin, with sort of dark orange skin. And,
How do I look?
terrifying. Says Billy.
Yeah, that's why I hate doing this.
Terrifying, but also great.
He'll sort of swagger around and try to get into the body a little bit. He's not big on deception. Cliff is not a deceiver, really, but maybe enough to just sort of play it quiet and cool. But he's not deceptive.
Okay.
So what's the plan? What do you want me to tell him?
Let's pause there for a moment and slip over to Lokak. So what's Lokak doing during this time period? Are there any prep that he wanted to make? Do you just, catch a nap and a short rest? What's Lokak doing during all this?
Yeah, I think Lokag would come upstairs, and as people were going up to the tower, he'd probably be, walking around the house. Maybe he's carrying one of those sticks of the salted meat around with him, just kind of chewing on it. And I think that he would. I think that he'd probably poke around in some of the rooms and just see if he finds anything interesting while people are going about. But he'd probably end up eventually just grabbing a chair and popping up a rest in the corner somewhere of this this upper room with the tables in it, just below the tower.
Okay, like that looks like a kitchen.
Yeah,
Okay.
he'd probably just pull one of these chairs over and get a rest in the corner.
Perusing some of the other rooms, you breeze through the smithy. There's a room off the landing. It looks like it was probably the blacksmith's bedroom. It's pretty simple. There's not much in there. It looks like some stuff is stored. There's a small desk and table, and on it is a half-finished short sword. It has a sort of a wavering Chris-like blade, but it's a heavy, wide-bladed short sword. It's really wide at the base. It doesn't have a pommel or handle, but the blade looks like very fine. You can see the layers of different steels sort of folded and pressed together, and that rich pattern of striated lines along the sword blade. The blade's polished and complete, not sharpened, as the handle's not finished yet, so it's usually one of the last things to be done. It's very fine work.
Okay. Well, he would let people know about the short sword, but he'll leave it there. If anybody wants it, he'll let them know that it's there if they want to pick it up. Yeah.
Okay. So Lokag, you can go ahead and take a short rest for your character.
Nice.
And for the rest of you up in the tower, now Clifford, in disguise, seeming ready. Does Helena have any final touches or advice, or is she offering to help somehow? As it's going to bluff the goblin.
I mean, her perception was really low, unfortunately, so probably not.
Okay. What about X?
X always has guidance to provide.
Fair enough. All right, so Clifford.
I was hoping we had time to would have had time to have a short rest before we do all these shenanigans. Would the rest of us not have that time before we do all this?
Yeah, if you all want to specifically take time for that, then we could
I
have.
prefer it. I think it's safer. Yeah, okay. Then I'll do a quick short rest.
Yeah, so go ahead, everybody.
All right, cool. And then he'll take whatever art, stuff that's on the body, personal effects and such, just to make it more convincing.
Okay. So you all rest pretty easily over an hour. You've got some food. You kind of sit on the barrels, lounge a little bit, talk about your plans. And then, you all slip up into the tower. Millie continues making preparations and finding materials and supplies to use. So back in the tower top, just donning your disguise. X and Helena getting to watch this strange and almost grisly scene as you don your disguise. The goblin lookout is still present, sort of peeking, looking up occasionally to see if he spots you, anybody in the window, before continuing to just look out through the city. Pop back out of view for a few seconds here and there.
I'll let everyone know if I come running in here, that means they're coming after me. Just, be ready.
Copy that.
So he's going to try to go out front, he just kind of got away from danger, I think, and try to go toward where the goblin is.
Okay. So just kind of like standing out in the window where that other goblin can see you to initiate contact.
Yeah, I think so. And I'll say maybe something like, "Stay away for now." It's toxic, or something that I can say like, "Stay away from now. Not safe." Something like that.
Okay. So as you pop into view, the goblin sees you out of the corner of its eye and looks over to adjust the sort of beaten and rusty iron helmet, sort of pushing it back, and makes a series of gestures. You make an insight check. Make it with advantage.
Okay, that helps.
And guidance.
Didn't roll. 15 in guidance.
You're late.
17.
You're late, the goblin is basically saying.
I'm late. I show him I'm wounded. I'm like, yeah, everything went crazy. I basically give him FUBAR. The FUBAR message.
He kind of cuts you off with his chopping and shifting hands, asking what happened.
And I'll do what I can to show that there was explosions, things got out of hand. I'll mention that the choker died, just to be consistent. They killed Choker and then they went after down the tunnel. I'll basically mention the people, what do we have? A human, mostly humans. The locals, they went up the tunnel. I'll basically mention they found a tunnel and they went after the human guy. So there's danger in here, but let him know that it's not safe right now. And I basically tell him wait, essentially.
Second wave is tomorrow. How long to wait?
I would say till dawn.
The goblin kind of cocks its head. It keeps turning and saying things to another goblin out of sight.
Or you can come and help. And I'll wave, and it's like, you can come and help me.
Oh yeah, again the goblin sort of cocks its head. It talks to the goblin out of sight, looks back up at you. It just says, "No change, same orders."
He'll nod, like he understands. He'll do the symbol of like, okay, I get it, same orders.
Yeah, and says, "Before sunrise." Yeah, the hobgoblins come before sunrise.
Right.
Make
That's
everything
fine.
make everything ready.
Will do. He nods, like, I got it.
He kind of turns as if he's being, hearing something else, and he looks back up and signs. But just like nothing stupid. Lay low. Don't do anything, except for keep the place. Be ready. Do nothing.
He responds like, who, me?
The goblin gives a lopsided grin,
Yes.
but it's not close enough to get a really deep look at your disguise. So, now make a deception check.
This is the good part. The old -1. 12 could be worse. Yeah, guidance, if I can get guidance again.
Mm-hmm.
4, 16.
The goblin gives you a fierce grin, as like a row of broken and jagged, half-rotted teeth split its face, and it sort of pumps its fist in the air triumphantly, and then sort of slips back down out of sight. You can hear it reporting a little bit more fully to the other goblin, but it's muffled. It's on the other side of the stone. And now, finally, let's see that. Yeah, okay. With that insight check, you think your ruse went off. You think that the goblin believes that you are who you appeared to be.
All right.
It gave no indication. It didn't bat an eye. It didn't, like lean forward and peer at you. It didn't, it cocked its head. You think because you said some things that were probably odd to it, that it was like, why is he saying that? But it makes sense. You bluffed your way through it, but it wasn't enough to tip the goblin off that you were not who you looked like.
It's the best I could hope for. He'll come back and let everyone know that we're good for the night until, before dawn. They're going to come in here. So either we get out of here or we get ready for that fight.
Well, let's get those traps set.
Yeah, I guess that's the plan. Will we be able to get a long rest in then before they come in the morning?
We should if we can sleep here. I mean, if we can relax enough to sleep, she means.
Yeah.
But it's still just after noon, I think.
Oh, yeah, that one. Should be all right.
There are places in here that are silent as the grave.
That is just not comforting the way you say that. But I know what you mean. I think.
Yeah, I would say I'd rest in there and hope that they listen to my message to stay out while we prepare the place. My disguise only lasts an hour, so if you want me to use it at all for anything else, speak now. But I think we got our I think we're good. I think we got our delay.
Yeah, the other goblin popped out of sight, so you think they more check in every now and then. Yeah. And not like are in constant communication.
Right. We could always weekend at Bernie's with the original one and have them sort of pop up.
Most of the goblins also sleep during the day too, so it may not be necessary to constantly check in with the other sentry.
Yeah, well, and I'm busy because I got to get everything ready. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, if we can get in a short or a long rest, while the goblins are sleeping, we can sleep too, and set traps and be ready for the next wave.
All right. So everybody, you all come back together and maybe in the basement, the food and barrels, and talk a bit more. So the plan of luring them in, maybe down in through the house, down to this spot, maybe slipping out through one of the secret entrances, perhaps, maybe block it or something. If you're still thinking of trying to fill the house with goblins and then set it on fire, Millie's sort of operating under that assumption. So she's talking about trying to bait them, like let them come into the place, let them discover us, get them all organized instead of letting them come in and spread themselves out and put their packs and gear down and start to get established. Like just immediately maybe alert them and draw them down, try to retreat down into the basement, leaving a series of prepared areas. We could put some barricades up, we can soak a rug in oil, we can do some different stuff, fight over it, and then draw them through it.
Give them a little bit of their own medicine.
So yeah, does Lokag have anything to add, or does he like that? Does he seem to like that plan? Does he have anything in particular he wants to do?
No, he'll help out as much as he can, but yeah, no, nothing in particular.
Well, Millie says, if bait is needed, it's likely you're going to be the bait, or me, I guess.
I don't mind being baked.
Well, we should put some thought into how we best want to utilize you. Oh, pet getting fed. Mythicus growing up strong. All right, so you all can sort of sleep in shifts. It's still, it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you have till dawn the next day, or just before dawn, that they will be arriving. So you've got a good amount of time, and you all can go ahead and get those long rests, as there is not, there's, at the moment, this place is quiet. You're sleeping through day and into the afternoon. Nothing interrupts you all. The only real change is as the sun starts to set, you all start to hear a rising burble of shouting of goblins out in the distance. The city sort of filtering in. It's just, shouting and chanting of the goblin hordes as they come out from their camps, maybe issue back out from the stone, and likely come out of their captured manors and such, that like this one, and begin to wake up and shout to one another. Groups, clusters of little platoons of goblins shouting and making great fervor and getting each other's blood up, but also being heard by the other contingents of goblins out there, all sort of building each other's battle fervor for the night of raiding and whatever else there. I mean, still trying to run down any other humanoids, likely any other areas of town that are still like safe and have people alive, still trying to crack those and supply their masters with more meat. So, as you all rest, I'm going to move a couple of tokens. So we've got, like, on the left-hand side of the screen, we've got tools to draw on the map. So just using color coding, if you're going to use some of the oil, you've got several flasks of oil that you found in the house, and you want to prepare a place. Use red, draw a rectangle around that area, and that sort of thing. There is Yeah.
Is this the front door here?
No, this up here is. Let me bring us back on the map.
Okay. Then I will be putting poison food on the tables up here.
Okay. Then use green and go ahead and mark those out. And this will just like let everybody else at the table know where those things are and, you know, where some things are likely to happen at. So once everything gets kicked off, we've got some markers on the map to help navigate, because you might not see their tokens at first of the enemies until, you know, your tokens are within line of sight of them. So having those little markers will let you all know some different areas you all have set up. Millie's thinking about setting up a series of tripwires on these stairs, the ones that go down to the basement. But she said there's plenty of rope and there's lots of iron nails and spikes and such. You all could drive into the masonry down there. So she spends a little time.
I like the idea. I like the idea of some spikes, some sharpened stakes or something right here on these stairs, because they'll come around the corner and maybe get in trouble with that.
She found lots of dangerous scrap metal, small pieces, some, you know, maybe a handful of things that would be good as caltrops to throw on the ground, but a lot of other things you all could affix, you know, wedge into, sort of scrape out the mortar and wedge it in using spikes and nails to hold things in place. Yeah, that could definitely be done. Well, if we assume... Go ahead.
Oh, I could set a snare at the bottom of the stairs using the Ranger level 1 Ranger spell. That'll catch anybody who does make it through.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and use our text and put next to it snare.
There we go. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, yeah.
Snaring is caring.
It's true.
Pom, were you thinking of any fire traps in any particular places?
Well, didn't I have... What was it? It wasn't a bomb. It was...
A door trap at the top of the stairs.
I had that door trap, and then I also had, like, what was it? Like a... It was something that ignites, if I recall. Like, it's a slow-burning, igniting kind of thing. Don't know.
Yeah, it's not so much I goodness, I didn't make a specific note of that, but I thought it was like a ball of like pitch.
Like some nasty stuff.
Yeah, some nasty kind of flammable, sticky stuff.
Yeah. I wonder. I want to put the sticky substance in the stairwell. And gosh, it'd be cool if like they fell on it and it would set that on fire. I just wonder if they would, like, all the sticky stuff on them would catch on fire too.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Yeah, because you got the fire trap, you could probably rig them together and increase the area, you know, and duration of the fire damage. So at the top of the stairs, they've got tripwires and then spikes. I'll go ahead and put...
Perfect.
I'll put these in yellow. At the very bottom of the stair, there is a snare that Clifford put. So maybe you could do your fire trap. Oh, goodness.
So they like fall down the stairs all sticky, and then they catch on fire and then hit spikes.
Okay, you want to put them higher, further up. Okay, so you want to put the fire at the landing.
That's what I was asking. But
it's up to you. Just getting an idea.
I mean,
these stairs are a nice long run.
Right, if they're
caught on fire at the bottom, you're gonna have to go one way or the other.
I feel like if they catch on fire, they will more likely fall down the stairs and into the snare at the bottom.
True.
So, yeah, let's do it like midway. As they're slipping down the stairs. It's like gonna be like a third to halfway down the stairs. Suppose the fire trap. What if it's like, so we had the fire in the kitchen, so we have some hot coals, right?
Mm-hmm.
The hot coals in a pot, make sure they're still on fire, and that's like on a board with a tripwire attached to it, and then on the other side is the little bomb, so it falls into the pot and onto them, catches on fire.
Yeah, I think you could do that for sure.
I like it.
Go ahead and make a thief tool check for that. Millie's busy hammering spikes into the wall on the stairs above.
I'm not upset with that.
24 is nice. Yeah, you get it pretty high up on the ceiling, to where it's, someone's just going to be looking down, and through the murder holes the arrow slits at you guys. They're not going to notice it. You think you get, about a 10 foot by 10 foot area, or, 10 feet of the stairs. You're pretty sure it'll burn for almost a minute. It'll be pretty smoky. It'll probably fill the stairwell, and the smoke will probably flow upward as well. So that could also play to your advantage.
Talk to me about how big of an explosion that little mini keg of gunpowder would manage.
Oh, let's see here.
Oh, I see Jar Jar mentioned it also in chat.
Nice.
Nice.
So it kind of depends on a few things. It depends on how you pack it. But off the bat, it's going to be a 20-foot radius. If you packed it a certain way, or reinforced a certain side of it, or made containers where the stuff was really compressed, then that area could be larger. But just as it is, 20-foot radius. Fools seldom differ. How do you know the difference between great minds and fools then? If great minds think alike and fools seldom differ, how do you know which one you are?
You don't.
Oh! Womp, 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 womp.
Now let me ask, were you thinking the same thing I was right there?
I don't know. What were you thinking?
Well, as long as we were thinking something different, then one of us is a great mind and one of us is a fool.
Okay. Too bad it wasn't as simple as asking us what the other person would say, like the door riddle. But no, not that simple. Okay, so
Sure.
You have a pretty decent fire trap there on this. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
We should also probably trap the secret entrance just in case they come that way through the tunnel in the basement. It'd be silly to set up all these traps for them to come in a different way.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to. The other one, the tunnel's very thin, so it'd be easy to clog that up. If we put some barrels there, no one's gonna come through.
Yeah, you could seal the door. It's a heavy stone door, secret door, and from you could spike it to where it was stuck.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
maybe not too much because we want to be able to get out if we have to. That's our exit plan, right?
Right, but you'd have it spiked from this side, so you could remove the spikes.
The other thing is I want to have the lights off in that basement. I'm hoping if we keep the lights off, I can see in the dark, so it won't affect me and allow me to sneak up on them. If you all are all right with keeping it dark.
Well, I think Lokag and I, Millie looks over to Lokag, the light would be pretty helpful for us.
Yeah, I can't see in the dark.
Why don't we pick a few chambers, maybe? That could be dark.
Yeah, I was just thinking this chamber here by the bottom of the stairs, so I can hit them when they come down in the dark.
I think we should use that whole room as distance and make them come to that. Because now that we've got all the traps, that stairway is not a place for us anymore, right? So I think like where X is, you'll be able to hit them from there. That'll be plenty dark.
Yeah, I think. Well, you're going to want to be able to see them from there, so we wouldn't want them to be. I'm just wondering if are there any shadows in this room that I can hide in? Is the question. If we could have the southern area dark.
Well,
east, like
there's
down here,
2 lamps. We can just light one of them, she says.
Yeah, maybe we just one lamp so there's some darkness in the room.
And then that still leaves both the cells in darkness, because the light's going to shine. I'll just draw an angle.
That's true. We could just stay in there with arrows and just fire at them.
Yeah, only like that part of the room are going to be illuminated, based on the lamps. So she suggests those could be areas to hide.
That's
at least
true.
just inside, that little.
If we take out one of the lamps, then the entrance will sort of be dark, and then we won't be able to shoot at them. That makes sense. Then Clifford will hide in here with the crossbow and handle it that way, I suppose.
Okay. All right. What about Helena? What's Helena thinking? If they're going to light this room so that the goblins can be seen, and the chambers that you all are currently standing in are all going to be dark.
Yeah.
You try to draw the goblins down, and you all can move down the stairs and avoid all the traps. You know where they're at. So, Lokag, you can still sort of lead the goblins down here if that's the plan you all go with.
I think she likes being, from the shadows. I think that's smart.
Okay. Same thing for X. Any final preparations?
I would really like to be able to bless people, and if we're going to be all over the place with Lokag on the stairs and Clifford in a cell, I mean, it doesn't feel good to me.
Alan's blessed.
I won't stop people from making the decisions that they want to make for their characters, but having us be together where, when they get down here.
Why don't we start together? We could start together, and then when the action hits, then I can run in. You can bless us, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to bless you and me and Helena.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then I'll wait here.
Okay, then.
We're here too, so if we turn these lights off here and here, we're in the dark. That's good for me.
I think Gloomstalker only has to be in dim light, though, right? You don't have to be in full darkness.
I don't know. Is that right?
True.
Stalker. Umbral sight. No, I gotta be in darkness. Yeah, there's not like a dim light.
I thought you could hide if you were lightly obscured. Is that not right?
Gloomstalker. It just says you get dark vision out to 60, but while in the darkness, I'm invisible to any creatures that rely on dark vision.
Well, that's the
goblin
main benefit to you being in darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I could be in the dark and the goblins won't see me. That's the point. But I could just easily fire from here. I was just thinking if I was over there, I could kind of sneak up behind them. They made it through.
All right.
But yeah, I love to bless. We'd probably move the bodies too. We'd move One Thumb and Shatterbone. We'd move their bodies. I mean, I could fake them out again and draw them down here and make them think everything's fine.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. If we're all starting out together, how are we going to draw them down?
Well, Lokag is going to...
Yeah, Lokag will start up top, and it's okay if he doesn't get a bless. He'll be all right.
Oh, are you sure?
And
Hint, he wasn't getting a bless anyway.
and I think one more thing we might want to consider is using maybe a bigger that gunpowder barrel on the trap door. So the that hatch that goes down into the room that we're all going, the room of the barrels.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could secure a that gunpowder barrel to the bottom of the. Well, how many of those do we have? We just have the one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, or some form of trap, just connected to the bottom of that door, so that when they open it, if they go down that way, or I guess we could lock it up from the inside.
Oh, definitely. Some spikes, some rope. We could seal that door up pretty easily, says Millie. Helena and I spent enough time getting into places. We're probably pretty good at keeping people out of places.
Could put the barrel.
Generally, I just make them go away with my personage. So I don't know if goblins will respond the same way. But, you know.
Something tells me they're going to be afraid of you.
Oh, what a compliment.
You're welcome? She nods. You're welcome. All right, so as you all, having laid out all of your traps and plans, having a good solid rest, and preparing for the next leg of your journey, you also have the guards to consider how useful they might be. For now, time is going to slow to an imperceptible crawl for your characters, ready in this recaptured manner in your city. Your city now, for some of you, it was once your city, X. For some, it's never been your city, but it seems to be becoming that. Helena and Millie. For Clifford, knowledge and skills of a harder, rougher life. That, a life you didn't love. But those skills have become very important, not just to you, but to people around you. And for Lokag, the champion of many an arena combat. And now, you're kind of looking forward to going back to the square at some point soon, because townsfolk are starting to look at you as if you had just won the greatest battle of your life. And that is a powerful, and it's a sweet thing to be so beloved and a little bit feared. But what will happen to your plans for the coming hobgoblins? Will they fall into your trap? Will they see through it and spring a trap of their own? We'll have to find out next session on the Goblin Stone.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Found out some information. Got some... Oh, Yeah. Saving a few things for the beginning of next session. Bubby is still out there,
Right.
hopefully working to swiftly return. You have the guards that you all might consider starting out next session. But I expect to next session get into make a mess of things rather quickly. You all have just to finalize a few plans. But yeah, expect early next session for us to be dealing with this incoming group of hobgoblins. Looks like X is already starting to throw in some stuff there in chat. So yeah, let's check in real briefly. I'm going to look for someone that we're going to raid out to. We'll check in on the night, and anything anyone has to share, please do, whether it's side projects or anything. So let's start with you, Pon. Any thoughts on the night? Any thoughts on the plan going ahead? Anything new that you've thought of that you can do to these hobgoblins? Or anything else?
I'm kind of impressed at... Work with me here.
Mm-hmm.
I am impressed with my ability to have come up with the traps that I did come up with. I'm not used to engaging D&D world like that, but it's exciting doing it, and feeling like, I don't know, I've kind of expanded what is possible and what's available to me in the game. So I thought the session was particularly expansive and fun, and I'm glad that Helena finally compromised with not needing to just burn everything down. And I really think she was overcompensating, because she does feel a little out of her depth, so she's like, just burn it all down.
Fair.
We all feel like that. We all feel like that sometimes, but when you get down to it, it's just not the most practical thing, right? So just a little bit of fire can go a long way, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Well said. Heck yeah. How about you, Nick?
Yeah, good sesh. A lot of planny stuff, and we had some social interactions, and just it's always kind of fun. It's too bad we don't have Millie. I'm sure they'll have some ideas of what to do. But it's always fun playing that tower defense game where you're like, all right, you have plenty of time. What are you going to do? So I'm looking forward to that.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I love it too. I think it's fun gameplay.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Big Bri, how about you? There wasn't a whole lot for you to do this session, but how was the session for you?
I really enjoyed listening to all the stuff that we were doing to prepare for this. The goblin on the wall was particularly interesting. I tried to figure out those hand signals, and I love making huge, expansive plans like this, because I feel like they a lot of times blow up in our faces, and that's interesting for me to watch. Is like making like, oh, they're definitely gonna come down these stairs and do all this, and like, so I'm curious to see what happens when the contingent actually arrives and is encountered with our traps.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited. All I know is I'm gonna be smashy. So either the traps work or they don't, I'm still gonna smash some goblin skulls.
Won't be a proper combat in this game without it. Heck yeah. How about you, DL, Loquitur?
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel the same as Locag. On one hand, I like the planning. It's fun to try to think through. On the other hand, it's like, I don't know how well it's going to work, but it's going to be fantastic storytelling, right? So it doesn't even matter if the goblins die. It just has to be fun in some way to watch them try to get through it and have them be the ones in the gauntlet, not us.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm ready to be entertained by that.
Me too. Heck yeah.
I also like that we took a little time to talk about the discussion with the undead stuff. And for viewers, maybe that seems boring, but I think it helps if you're actually in the game trying to think how your character would think. I love those little role-playing moments that, like, I have to kind of think through what would X's opinion on this really be? Like, what would his outlook be? So I like those moments.
Yeah.
Me too. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. We're not here to be. Go ahead.
It made me realize that Cliff has no religious connection. Really doesn't care. It's just meat. I think he's pretty atheist for the most part. So it just made me really think about that aspect because I hadn't really. But yeah, he probably just doesn't care. I mean, he kills people for money. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love those. Yeah. I mean, this is one of the reasons we do this instead of just playing video games together, you know. There's always, it's an infinite game. There's an infinite amount of games within the game, you know. And yeah, like getting into our characters, getting to know them, you know, it's like, yeah, try to put our feet in their shoes and walk around, you know. Yeah, I find it actually, I feel like it gives us a certain insight into ourselves, the character that we're usually playing throughout the day, you know. And so I think that's part of why it could be like so good for people's mental health, or such a good way to blow off steam, even though you're doing stuff that's tense, you know, you're dealing with life and death, you know, in the game, but it's like, oh, it's so relaxing. I feel so much better after that. Well, heck yeah. Let's see here. DL, you had something you wanted to share?
Yeah, no, just I'm working on my RPG channel stuff, and I've got a bunch more stuff up and running. So I talked about it at the break, but for anybody who might want to listen that didn't hear it at the break, I got a Patreon stuff up and running. I've done pre-built character sheets for the characters that I'm building over there, and posted up the images that I used for the slides, and some people have expressed interest in wanting to see the images. So that'll be part of the Patreon paid services, though. I'm not going to just like post them up public access.
Cool.
So the low tier membership is $4 a month, so it's not like I'm asking people for, you know, a big chip out of their bank. But yeah, so that stuff's all posted up for people who might be interested, and we'll see where it goes.
Heck yeah. Toss that link up, yeah, I'm going to quick throw a Discord invite to get anybody who wants to come over to the server. Right there. And heck yeah. Did anybody else have any announcements, things they wanted to share with everybody? Pon, anything else that you want to say? All right, Nick?
And happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Indeed. Indeed.
Happy Halloween. It is my birthday in a few days. I'm the first, so I always kind of treat Halloween like it's my birthday.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Happy birthday.
Heck yeah. Right on. That's a good birthday. That's a good time of year for a birthday. Heck yeah. Well, Mythlanders, y'all have a great week.
Yeah, there's people always having parties for my birthday.
Yeah, I mean, all over the world.
All right.
Dozens and dozens of them. Yeah. Nice.
Well, they don't do it right, though. Nobody does Halloween right. Not like here. Not like in San Francisco, especially. They used to have the best Halloweens here.
Try New Orleans.
Not anymore.
That was the best Halloween I've seen, probably, is New Orleans and Halloween. Yeah, ridiculous. And that was before, you know, several hurricanes, but the city is still, it doesn't stop, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's same culture.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mythlanders,
Awesome.
Be good to yourselves this week. Thanks for another awesome session. Hit me up if you have any questions or need anything. If you are interested in any of our services, I run games throughout the week. I coach and teach GMs. Yeah, go ahead and hit us up, message us. And other than that, we'll see y'all next week. I'm about to raid out to Captain Robert. Or I will. Well, I thought I was going to. Just another moment.
One moment, please.
All right. Let's see here. Good night, everybody. Happy Halloween.